All right, testing. One, two. This is normal level for me. I don't know if this is all that easily heard. I think this is consistent. Okay, looks like we are live. We're good. Looks like it. I'm presuming. Oh, yeah, panel. All right, cool, sweet. I admit I thought this was going to be an hour from now, so that's on me. Anyway, hello there. My name is Blondie. If you know who I am, cool. If you don't know who I am, uh, I don't know, even better, I guess. So this is indeed, I don't even remember what the panel name is. What is the panel name? Let's look at the schedule. There's a schedule, isn't there? Surely I'm not the only one disorganized about all this, right? Surely. Yes, of men and mares, story time for you. And when I say for you, I mean especially you, Gum Bunner, even though it looks like you've been away for a while. Ew. And you have Gilda. All right, not for you. You don't get it. Horse Bandit, you. This is just for you. Story time for you specifically. I don't know who you are. Based and red pilled name. It's all that. It's all. What else do I need to know, right? So, anyway, what's the point of this? This is a writing panel without any writing. Contrary to horse words and you, especially you, Mad Jack. Even though it looks like you have a griffin in your stuff, you know. Even though that this is something where it is just me telling a story time. The purpose behind that is that I like to reiterate time and time again, you do not need to have a full idea to start a story. You don't need this massive Bible of creation to know all the continuity and what's going on. Sometimes it just takes that raw, primordial feeling that something is going on. If anyone's been checking out the remake of the Yandir thread, and yes, I will call it Yandir, even though the pronunciation is incorrect because I specifically want to piss off the weebs out there. I have been writing a green on that thread. I have no clue where that story's gonna go. I have a few reasons why I started it, but those don't really matter, and you don't have to read it, so, mind over matter, right? So between that and between this gives me a chance to enjoy storytelling. And there are many stories to tell, many mayors who have stories to tell. Whether or not they tell it properly or appropriately is not for me to decide. Anyway, when it comes to starting this, there is no real official start. It just becomes the topic of conversation. What are we going to focus on when it comes to this? Well, the title is Of Men and Mares. And the question is, what are the best laid plans of men and mares? You tend to have a lot of Anon and Equestria stories, and that tends to be okay. I mean, they're fun. I've done stories like that too, but outside of the alienation and how they get on and don't get on, it's a very nice, positive place. I mean, who doesn't want to live in Equestria, right? Well, you're all wrong. The more of us that live there, the less it becomes Equestria, and the more it becomes, I don't know, Louisiana. I don't want Equestria to be Louisiana. That's not good. Don't move to Equestria. Don't do it. It's not good for you. Not good for them. But the good news is when you have mares coming to Earth, a lot of things can happen. There's a lot of positively okay results. There are also negative results. And lately I've been thinking more of the negative results when it comes to mares that live in just in human land. It's just there's a lot of issues with that. A lot of logistics, a lot of cultures, a lot of normies and NPCs who don't really understand the thrill, the enjoyment, the merriment of mares. I know, what a nightmare, right? So, when it comes to this story, then given the title of this, it makes me think of what would happen if we had a massive influx of mares. Not just mares, but stallions too. After all, you can't just have half of a population coming here. As to why they've been coming here, uh, it's hard to say. And it depends on what season you think is canon, right? Good news for you. I don't care about canon. The only canon that matters is my canon because shut up, I'm the one doing the stories. So, deal with it. So, inevitably, you have a lot. Oh no, Garn, not that gif. Why did I choose to look at the chat now? I'm gonna look away from that. God damn you. I just, nah, man. I ain't good. Just scroll down far away from that. When it comes to a massive influx of population, doesn't really matter the origin. There's always going to be a lot of upset. And, oh no. I'm just not gonna look. Is this the consequence of doing a panel not in the middle of the night? People are actually awake and doing shit? Like, I said I wanted something in the middle of the night, goddamn you. Give me something 2 a.m. again. At least people are fucking sleeping and I can do stuff. Instead of this wiggling the fuck out. Jesus Christ. Oh boy. I can't look at that. Just no. That's not good. It's not good at all. Anyway, there. I have it covered. You can say anything in chat now. I don't fucking know. I'm never gonna see it. When it comes to any sort of massive population influx, especially in the US, you tend to have a lot of disruption. And it's not just disruption and the easy things to think about. Oh, more traffic on the road. Oh, there's more crime. Well, it's not necessarily either of those because equestrians aren't really known to drive, and for the most part, there's not a lot of crimes they commit. Maybe that's kind of why we enjoy them so much compared to others. But when it comes to such a massive influx in population, I mean, prices skyrocket. Suddenly, there's a lot of housing shortages. Believe it or not many people out there wish to marry a mare. Why? I don't know. I can't give you the answer to that. But sure enough, it does cause a lot of issues. The main one, similar to another story by a similar name, this has led to a massive influx in both humans and equestrians just trying to find work, which is it's an interesting thing. I mean, it's a tale as old as time when you look at it. There's been many cultures where there's just It's a labor shortage, or not necessarily a labor shortage, but there are too many people than what an environment can naturally provide for. So inevitably, you're just going to have figures there where all they can do is sit around and wait, or try to, do anything so they're not just sitting around and waiting. For some, it's economic. For others, it's a matter of just keeping themselves sane, staying consistent and being able to say, okay, cool, I have a reason to wake up tomorrow. Now, another interesting thing, the human world is rather known for our merry assortment of narcotics and alcohols, more so than just idle ciders. It sounds like it's a fun time, not necessarily so, because you can be poor and still enjoy a lot of things you really shouldn't. It just means you forego other things like food or bills or rent or car payments or usually anything else going on in your life, depending on how bad you are. So when it comes to that, we had a number of equestrians also kind of get hooked onto more human vices. It's very depressing to say, but when you attach an equestrian and put them here, they tend to adopt our ways, then we tend to adopt theirs. It's not very romantic than what most of us would prefer, I assure you. Because of that, there have been more and more waves of both humans and equestrians moving in herds or just countless camps bordering on what used to be gypsies. I guess what are gypsies now, but slightly less dirty looking. And just from state to state, you see it. You see those moving from west to east, east to west, north and south all over the place, just sticking to an interstate for the most part. Thankfully, our story isn't focused on that. It is, but not so much a grandiose scale and more just a gas station on the highway. And by gas station, I don't necessarily mean a Buc-ee's, which, if you haven't gone to Buc-ee's, for shame. If you have, for shame for not introducing more people to the cult of Buc-ee's. It's not anything great like that. It's not anything that pays well. It's not even anything that's really that impressive. I mean, it's not a quick trip. It's not anything that has a title. It's just some old mom and pop shop where the guy running it's maybe third generation. And to be fair, he does well. He manages to keep the place running by himself. There's just enough business to pay the bills and to refill whatever reservoirs of gasoline that they have, and diesel too, depending. Excuse me. And what's interesting, this guy was rather single for a long time until a certain mayor came along. Now, this mayor, an interesting sort, decided that would be the perfect place for her. Well, the question is why? Is her cutie mark something resembling puffing petrol and Rama Rama? No, not necessarily. Does it involve anything like, oh, she has economic sense? That's a good thing. Like, after all, you want like an awesome accountant, right? Balance the books, make sure nothing weird's going on. Easy to do when there's only the one owner there who's the only employee, but now you're doubling up on staff, so who knows, right? You need that type of stuff. That's apparently a full-time job. Well, it's none of that. In fact, her talent is kind of dull. She's good with colors. Doesn't mean she's a good artist. Doesn't mean she's a seamstress or skilled or worth anything, if I'm to be honest with you. Oh, Jesus Christ, what a loser. But for some reason, she ended up sticking there. Now, the questionable detail that I think should be brought up, that maybe some of our younger Anons may not necessarily care about, is that the Anon owning the gas station, he's decent. He's not the smartest, he's not the dumbest guy. Let's say maybe early mid-20s. He's been doing it for a few years, and of course, his boomer parents have just kind of dumped the entire thing on him. And after enough summers of unpaid child labor, he kind of knows how to keep the things going. He knows how to work the cash register. He knows that every other week, roughly, there's a truck that stops by and gives him stuff to restock the shelves. Snacks, condoms, trucker pills, drinks, more condoms, things like that. Standard tiny gas station shit, right? I mean, to be fair, it's not like he's living off of this stuff. He has decent stuff in the back. and the gas station's also kind of his home, but you know, why not? You're not really going to go anywhere. You're out in the middle of nowhere, right? So with Arnon, him being a rather a younger man who has a future ahead of him, this mare is not so young. She's not exactly graying into the main department, but there's something odd that if you were to look at them, you would tell that they're kind of an odd mix. And keep in mind, she's doting. She sure likes him. She sure likes him a lot, which is interesting. And of course, he seems to like her. Not that he ever had a direct fascination with equestrians, let's call it, before that point, but just certain things happen to fit, and certain slots just happen to fit with certain tabs. Whether or not alcohol was included at the time is yet to be discovered, but to be fair, that's their intimate history, and I don't feel the need to go into it for my or your sake. Speaking of alcohol, I did have a mouthful of Crown right before I started, so I'm going to have a second one, and I am going to continue to drink. So, also, Legion, she's not a MILF because a MILF requires her to have kids, and she does not. Which means she doesn't have anyone at such an age. A spinster of a mare? That's odd. I think that's odd. You usually don't see those. There's usually a reason if you see a spinster mare, but that's just me. I tend to be suspicious when it comes to those sorts. Anyway, bottles up, right? Mm. mm. Mm-hmm. Oh, delicious. I don't really do shots. I just gulp from the bottle until my mouth is full and then swallow from there. So I don't really know what I'm doing, but I will say I started off with a full bottle, and it is no longer a full bottle. So, you know, makes the story more fun, right? Ah, delicious. So, this younger man and this older mare. Oh, God damn it, River. I should not be looking at the chat thing. With these two, they end up running the gas station, and usually it's never been busy. It's safe to say it's just not a busy spot. You get truckers, the occasional hitchhiker bait, and just whatever type of things. But usually, and I say usually relative to the last maybe month or so, he's gotten a lot of figures where they're walking in on foot and on hoof, which is odd because the closest town to them is about a 2 hour walk, which is to say maybe a 10-20 minute drive. Still, though, that's a long way to walk. The other town over is maybe a 2 to 3 hour drive, which is different from a 2 hour walk. But more and more, he kind of just he's noticing that there's figures stopping in. Usually, they're just buying water, a lot of gallons of water. Usually, they're just buying snacks, sunblock, things that you tend to get in the summer. At first, he didn't really care because shit, dude's kind of got it made, you know? He's living out there. He doesn't really mind how the world is. He's found his spot in it, and he's quite comfortable with it. For better or worse, he's comfortable with it. And you really can't envy a man like that. The mayor, on the other hand, is just she's all over the place. She's saying, "Oh man, it must have been because I'm here, and maybe it's the equestrian representation. Like maybe we should do some rebranding." She's very proactive in wanting to be a part of this. She's not playing passive at all, which that's nice. It's positive. But after a certain encounter, you start to get a little bit curious. Because this mare, this middle-aged mare, it happened sometime in the evening. She was shouting at someone. It sounded like the type of argument that you usually don't want to deal with after the fact. It's that type where you smell ozone in the air for like 3 hours after. And the mayor was talking to someone. Now, of course, for him, he's watching TV in the back rooms. He doesn't care. It's usually the same public access stuff, but hey, it means Hogan's Heroes. Who can complain, right? So he's going on in one of his favorite episodes. He's hearing just this bloody murder screaming, which is odd because usually people don't get that worked up if they're trying to get the little licorice twists that are about 50 cents a pop. Outdated price, but you know what? It's not about making a profit, it's about making someone happy. Who cares? Besides, he's known to steal about half the jar anyway, depending on the week. So when he came out, and this was maybe a first sign of things that were odd, the mayor, she seemed upset, not angry, but just genuinely troubled. There's something that happened. And of course, like any good man does, he asked her what's going on and why. And he doesn't want to get too far into it because one, he's not good with the emotional stuff. That's a mighty fine flaw for him, I want to say, because you don't really want to be emotionally cut off when it comes to an equestrian. They wear their uh, emotions on their sleeves. If they had sleeves, aha, aha, aha. I'm not gonna check the chat, but I assure you it was a funny joke and everyone's laughing. Don't worry about it. And she insisted it's fine, that's nothing big. Well, every now and again, he kind of asks just every day, like, hey, are you doing okay? Have you seen anyone familiar? And he starts to word it that way too. That, hey, it's not have you seen anyone weird, but have you seen anyone familiar? And of course, for about a week after that, nothing. About another week after that, nothing still, which that's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. I mean, it's just, it's whatever. Not every equestrian's going to know each other, right? Well, after a certain time, and of course, he decides to just hang out at the front, even though he's not quote unquote on the clock. It's just, whatever. He can hear the TV in the back. It's a rerun. He has his drink. Speaking of drink, oh, that was water, by the way. That wasn't alcohol. I'm gonna give myself another 15, 20 minutes before I do another alcohol. But he's enjoying himself, and he sees another pair, which it's a trio of mares. They don't look anywhere near as old as his mare, per se, but let's put it this way. It's not that he isn't happy with his spinster of a mare, but he's starting to appreciate the physical form of other mares. It's what most young men do, let's be honest, even if you're in a relationship, even if you're married. Sometimes the eyes wander. It's like going to an art museum and saying you can't appreciate any other art piece outside of what your wife personally put up in the risque gallery, which is usually not that good. Again, it's risque, but not not what you should see in a museum. So, of course, he sees the interaction that she has with them, and he kind of noticed, like, he didn't really mind when she set up a stall outside, where it's apparent there's a lot of stuff going on in the outside world, and even if he doesn't really care, she seems to be in tune enough with what's going on, where he just, he ended up moving a cooler out there, where it's just, yeah, everyone's coming by for water, everyone's just traveling in this direction, whether or not they're in a car, so yeah, she wants to help out with the two gas pumps, or she wants to sell water bottles or jugs or whatever other stuff. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not like the inside of the gas station's all that air conditioned, so, whatever, right? Well, he noticed during that conversation that she's not she's not trying to sell water. She's not really doing like the whole enterprising thing of, hey, you look thirsty. You want to spend $2 for this, whatever. No, It started off as casual conversation and then started to get more heated. That's the other thing about equestrians. They usually don't get heated that much. They do when they're passionate, but this wasn't the type of passionate, heated debate. This was more something angry, more hostile. Good news is he decides he should step in, and he does at the right time before it ends up getting a lot worse. The three mayors, of course, they're glad to see him, and funny enough, a lot of the equestrians are glad to see him. It's apparently a decent human that's not that aware of them. It's a nice welcome sight because, of course, you have those who are not fond of them and those who are fond of them perhaps too much. And I'm sure no one like that is here today because that might not be the right angle to have. Depends. This is not a bit of silence for you to contemplate how socially adjusted you are to actually obtain a mirror of your own. I'm not throwing stones here. It's not about that. So he sees that the three mayors, they're rather just kind of, it's a polite way to put it, filthy, haggard, starved. I mean, he's able to see their ribs through their coats, which is a rough sight. Their manes don't particularly look all that nice or clean. Excuse me. Excuse me. He's not the sort to be that much of a highfalutin sort. Indeed, his mare's mane is rather messy and unkempt, but to be fair, he's partially to share for the guilt of why that looks the way it does. So, what are you gonna do about it? So, of course, he's decent. It's been not bad. It's not like he runs a better breakfast, but he just it's rough hearing their story. Where they come here. Of course, back in Equestria, they really didn't have all that much. They had each other, but that's kind of about it. And now that they're here, and it's just, everything's different. Everything's scary. Everything's focused on money. Most people are very quick to sell them out or just to tell them off directly for the dire, dire sin of merely existing in front of them. It's not ideal. And for better or worse, that's the type of situation they're stuck in. Now, of course, his mare offers her counsel, and she's insisting that, they'll be fine. There's a few other travelers a few hours ahead. They'll meet up, they'll camp out. It'll be fun. They'll have marshmallows and chocolate, and they'll make s'mores and, whatever. In fact, they sell the material to make stores at the gas station. Her idea. Well, eh, it's a good argument. It's not a convincing argument. So because it's not a convincing argument, he kind of maybe sorta offers that they can stay the night. Now, keep in mind, this in no way means that they're staying the night with them. I mean, he has some camping gear. He used to grow up camping, and in the vast, just fucking wasteland that is just a highway and nothing around. It's all flat land. Thankfully, not proper desert, but it kind of gets close to it after a few hours of driving westward. I mean, it's nice. It's not ideal. But he has a few tents he can put up. He has some like camping, cooking where I mean he's giving them the tools so they can use whatever resources they have, and it's not charity. You understand? It's the difference. It's not charity. It is simply saying, hey, I have this stuff that you can use. If you guys want to camp out back, I'm not going to hold it against you. And if there's any sort of issues going on, we'll talk about it later. But for now, just chill, calm down, take the time to figure out where you're going to go, and just figure it out from there. It sounds decent. It sounds like a decent plan to him. It sounds like a decent plan to me. And of course, to the three mayors coming in, and it sounds like a very decent plan to them too. It's just his mayor that she's really against it. Now, of course, after she voiced her concern of, they might be thieves. They look like thieves. Oh, she's seen sorts like them before. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The yellow coat, red coat, white coat, and just oh yeah. They look like that. You know, that group that everyone's heard of before. That she's surely not making up on the fly. Surely. Well, she doesn't win that argument. It's much less an argument and more he kind of decided on his own because, I mean, to be fair, he owns, shit, what, the last 20 acres around the area? I mean, he can do whatever he wants. No one's gonna care. It's a bit odd, but okay, yeah, sure, whatever, right? So he ends up setting up the camps. The three mayors, they actually end up helping. It's not that they're used to setting up tents, but they're used to, just kind of making camp, having a spot they can just kind of hunker down in. Of course, it's kind of out in the elements, but it's close to the building enough where if it were to rain, not that the area gets much rain at all, they're not going to be just left out. I mean, it's there. He's not setting them up on gravel and telling them to deal with it. He's being rather mindful of this, very decent. Uh, and of course, as he's doing this, someone needs to watch the register, right? Just watch the front. Okay, I am presuming. I think I'm good to go. Let me unmute my stuff. Am I clear? My stuff closed out. Yeah. Yeah. I hate hearing myself. It's weird. All right. Yeah. That's weird. My headset usually doesn't close out like that. Also, good thing I didn't see that fucking GIF, Ponky Tank. God damn you. Yeah. Jesus Christ. I'm not doing another panel any other time before midnight. Fuck this weird shit, man. You and your fucking weirdo waking people actually paying attention. So, I'm not looking at that. I'm not doing it. You can't make me. Uh, it's the wiggly legs that make it worse. So, of course, he's setting this up, and as he's doing this, the three mayors, they're kind of giving him more context as to what's going on. They're letting him know that yes, they were kind of told, hey, come to Earth. There's a lot of people who are fond of you. Everyone's heard of your culture and your history and all these things. A lot of things that really, really fluff them up. And at the start, it actually was pretty good. I mean, there was a lot of initial fans. There's hundreds of thousands of humans that were really, really happy about this at the start. It made news. Not that he paid attention to the news, mind you. It's all over the internet. Not that he's really internet savvy. Without the middle of nowhere, you kind of just find your own fun, right? Not to mention, he didn't know about Starlink, so he just, what are you gonna get out there that's worth anything? And for about a good few years, it was pretty nice. There was assimilation easy enough that people didn't really have to strain themselves. What kind of sucked was that after a certain tipping point, those hundreds of thousands of humans that were happy to see equestrians, the really, really happy ones, well, they got married, they started families, and things just it's natural, right? When you have stuff like that. Many more, they were still happy, but their um their human cultures made it very awkward when it came to dealing with their differences. For some humans, it came to dating. For other humans, it came to having to deal with someone that, even if you do love them, by human standards, they are just not physically capable of doing the things that you do. A lot of people can work with that, make no mistake. You know, as they say in Jurassic Park, life finds a way. But for many, that just eventually that kind of broke down. And when you have that happen enough times, there's a cascade effect. You know, it's like if you have a group of 20 friends, someone gets divorced, well, if everyone is married, it might cause another divorce to happen, and it might cause another divorce to happen. And in this situation, a lot of what would have been seen as forever bonds and relationships, they started to decay because the reality was starting to get to them. You know, of course, never mind the unfortunate reality that not everyone can cosplay as a celebrity, you know? It's like dating a Japanese girl and getting insulted that she's not Hitomi Tanaka, or someone dating an American and saying, "Hey, you're no Brad Pitt." It sucks, it's unrealistic, but for some people that's just how they are, for better or worse. And for a lot of people, even worse than that, they didn't know they were capable of that until it was staring them in the face. So, as more equestrians came to Earth, and as this wave of not repulsion, but oversaturation came up, there's there's nothing they can really do. Now, of course, it's not just equestrians making these pilgrimages. I mean, plenty of them do have human friends and companions. Companions ranging from friends to spouses, and whatever worse, because humans are into filthy, filthy things. I'm not going to check the chat because I'm pretty sure many can think of a filthy thing to post, and I am not going to look at anything like that. So, use your imagination. By the time the tent is done, and by the time he set up their little camping kitchen, which they don't really have hands, and to be honest, they don't really have food either, so they're in a bind. He's not going to charge them for things that when they have just nothing to their name, right? So, it sucks, but whatever. It's good. It's a good day for burgers, right? Yeah, it's burger patties. It's like camping outdoors. Everyone loves burgers. Equestrians love burgers and baby birds. They're mostly vegans, don't you know? So, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And by the end of it, of course, he's still chatting with them. He's enjoying their company. He's not. I mean, he's not attracted to them because, of course, he has his mare, which again found him. Boy, what a learning curve, right? But sure enough, it worked. She found the right way to make it work. Let's put it that way. Who boy. And of course, she's still minding things even after business hours, after she's closed up the front and everything. She's not really keen on joining them, which he doesn't really think anything of it. It's like, you know what? It's fine. We're sitting on the ground, we're kind of singing Kumbaya, not quite, but close to it, right? Everyone's just kind of enjoying the moment. For him, it's a nice break of the monotony. For them, it is a very welcome reprieve from the outside world. And, of course, dinner goes well too. Eventually, the older mare comes out, and sure, she kind of sits with them. She doesn't like talking with them because I don't know why. You'd have to ask her. He did ask her after a nice, polite disengagement from the party, but she's saying the same things. Oh, I've seen them. They're that kind. They're gonna do this. They're gonna do that. Just a lot of stuff that sounds really, truly, honestly negative. And it's weird because she's never been really that negative. I mean, she's seemed forlorn perhaps. She's seen maybe wistful about certain things, or just, ever so grateful that he sees her as she should be seen. Take it as you will, but he doesn't mind it, so it's fine. It's good. Uh, just I don't know. Something's not right with that. Eventually, they kind of decide, well, we're not going to go back out there because it's getting late. He kind of calls out, just let us know if you need anything, extra blankets, pillows. I mean, they have more than enough for them, given the stuff that he dumped out there. And of course, this is all without charge. It's just, why not, right? It's not like it's going to kill him. No, it's not that kind of story. Mares would never do such a thing, surely. So, of course, nighttime rolls around, and you had the lights out. It's something where the sign's out. Technically, they do stay out until about midnight, but it's kind of one of those things where officially, unofficially, they tend to close up by maybe 8-ish or 9-ish. If anyone really seems truly at need, they'll come up, but it's self-serve gas. It's not something that's from the old 1950s, so you just use your card, you move on, and you're good. Uh, During that night, the older mare is quite attentive. Makes a lot of noise, an interesting amount of noise. Not that she was particularly amorous before, but that night was interesting. And of course, he enjoyed it. He didn't see anything wrong. It's kind of just whatever. So now being tuckered out, man that he is, any red-blooded American man at least. Sorry, Australians and and Europeans, you're not American men, so I can't say how red-blooded you are when it comes to older mares. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. Don't worry, I was born in Europe. I understand the stigma, but I was raised in Texas, so I am very strong when it comes to mares. Very powerful. Much power. Much mare. Wow. He ends up sleeping in pretty late, later than he usually does. I wonder why. It's almost as if she went out of her way to tucker him out. Poor boy. So he eventually wakes up and kind of goes out, and sure enough, the campground, I mean, it's all packed up. Like completely packed up. The three mares that were there the evening prior, and they're all gone. And they didn't really have to pack up everything like that. I mean, it's nice, it's considerate, but you know, they didn't have to. They're going through a tough time as is. They didn't need to do it. So he ends up asking her, and the only thing she says is, "Oh yeah, well they felt so bad about it that like really really early, as soon as the sun came up, actually." They insisted on packing everything up, and they said they were going to leave right then, and that, of course, they bought about 3 gallons of water, one for each of them, and they were so grateful. You are so awesome to do that. I admit I had my doubts, but you have truly shown me what a paragon you are, and of course, she's flattering him every which way you can imagine. Now, what's odd is that she said she sold them the water, and he kind of made a point that they were in a bind, so why pay for water? It's like it what is it, $5 for 3 gallons of water? They seemed like they're in a position where $5 could go quite a while, but all right, well, you know what, whatever. She's the one who takes care of the funding and the accounting anyway, right? So it's fine. It passes maybe 2 or 3 days later. Of course, there's another group that pops up, another batch of mares, one stallion, and it seems like they're all siblings. Not because they're all acting the same way, but they all just, they have the same coats and manes, and they have all like the same names. They're all fucking goofy like that. It's what equestrians are. If you have everyone named after a certain type of rock or pie or fruit, you can probably guess they're related. Now, whether or not they should be, that's a question for bigger people than I. So this happens, and the same thing. It's just he kind of feels bad because seeing this for so many weeks and seeing so many figures where he's starting to see these parties come up and they're no longer fresh faced and just exploring. It looks like something is actually happening, and the something actually happening is what's concerning to him because it's turning into this thing of, all right, well, a lot of figures, they are heading west because that's the way the highway goes. There's usually not a lot of traffic, so to see a lot of vehicles a lot of things gassing up. Now, keep in mind, it's not like bumper to bumper. You understand? It's not. This is a highway. It's not like a massive interstate. It's not that big. But the uptick is notable. And seeing these figures where, they're starting to look less and less fresh. They're starting to smell less and less fresh because, let's face it, you ever gone camping out before, after a few days, you start to smell a little bit gamey. Or in some of these cases, they smell just dirty. And not dirty in any particular way, but just in the raw, genuine definition that they smell like they've been sleeping on dirt, on grass. And there's just, again, you have desert kind of going into it, so it's still grassland, but it's sparse. So again, when it comes to these four, he shouldn't, but he offers up just, hey, a little bit of, the fuck was that? God damn it, Corp, you and your pole. I shouldn't have had that noise going. Spooky noise. So, whether or not he should, he just kind of goes, all right, well, we kind of had some camping stuff out. If you want, you can, God damn you, Triforce. Fuckers. That's what I get when I get spooked by loud noises like a horse. They start looking and I'm wild-eyed and I lose my train of thought. Except not really, not when it comes to this. So he offers, you know what, I have the camping stuff. Just, listen, don't worry about the cost. I've done some laundry. It's all clean stuff. I'm not some fucking psycho. I'm a dude with a gas station, I'm just, let me do something that can help. And of course, they're very thankful for it. Of course, the one stallion, he's a bit more forward, and the older mare doesn't really seem to mind him nearly as much. He just kind of mentions, hey, if you have a hose, if you want us, we can pay you. It's just, can you set up a little station where we can take a bath? Because, you know, it helps. Like, oh, yeah, and of course, and again, he insists on not charging them because they're in a bad situation. I mean, what are you gonna do? Bleed them dry and just, no, we don't do that. Not in this country. The practice of foreign countries may influence us to do so, but the good men and women tend to not insist on lining their pockets when someone's in a state of suffering. So, of course, he sets this up, and he goes out of his way a bit better. Of course, he's helping them set up the camping tents. He brought out a second one because you go camping with family, you never just have one tent. You have one for every one or two people, then you have the backup, right? So, all right, two tents, why not? I figure up whatever, it's none of his business. Sets up a bit of a washing station where it's just a water hose that kind of pours down. It's not great, but there's privacy. There's a few walls. It's behind an area. It's behind the dumpster, but when you move the dumpster and you really don't ever fill the dumpster, it's not like it smells like trash. It's there. At worst, it's a hive for hornets every new summer, and you kind of deal with those pretty easy, so it's fine. Uh, he sets it up, and of course, the older mare, she's voicing her concerns. Where, well, I don't know about him. He seems like he's a bit of an odd fellow. You ever notice how the way he kind of looks at whoever over there and all this stuff, and mm, it's odd. It's very odd stuff to listen to, but again, she's just being paranoid. Again, he gets it. It's He's normally not the sort who's so charitable, but it looks like there's something actually going on, so he doesn't mind it. Yeah, whatever. Do I have? Apparently, I have Discord up. Who the fuck is messaging me? I don't know. I don't care about the schedule. I'm gonna be there all day, every day anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. Why? So he sets it up. Now he doesn't have burgers, but he has hot dogs. It's not as fancy as burgers, and he hasn't gone to the store that much. And let's be honest, he hasn't really been thinking too much of cooking for others. But yeah, why not, right? Let's do a night of Frank's. So he does that. He's kind of talking to them, and of course they're a larger family. They kind of came by because they lost whatever land they had. Their parents supposedly had a really green hoof when it came to trees and whatever type of fauna, and they didn't really care about it. Not that they lacked the skill, just that, at that point they had heard that they could just move and, of course, sell the land for a very fair amount. I mean, yeah, he can't blame them, but the exchange rates being what they are and how they never really found a way to assimilate, it just led to resources draining, and now they're trying to find somewhere to be. It's a very, very bitter bit of irony. But he doesn't mind it, and compared to last time, she doesn't really join. I mean, of course, he brings her dinner in there in court, and she's doing whatever, watching TV. It's the one thing you can really do by yourself outside of, I don't know, reading, but who reads? Ha 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 ha. No one, that's who, especially when you don't have internet. So, by the end of the night, the older mare, she's kind of calmed down. She's like, all right, well, you know what? Maybe they're not that bad. He's like, well, yeah, like there you go. It's he thinks personally she might be a little bit suspicious of everyone because it's odd economic timing when everyone's just kind of in a bad situation. Inevitably, you're going to have a lot of figures that lie, who try to deceive. Thankfully, he's never had a situation where anyone has lied to him or deceived him. Not that he's aware of, anyway. What are the odds, right? Equestrians seem like honest sorts. That seems to be just the way their culture is and how they were raised. Why would he think otherwise, right? Also, since this is a 3 hour panel, I guess I'll give it, what, let's say 5 minutes every hour, just in case anyone needs to go to the bathroom or anything like that. That seems like that'd be something decent. So, yeah, let's say 5 minutes from now, if anyone wants to take a quick break. All I'm gonna do is just drink and go delicious water. So, Legion, what's the plot? The plot is that a lot of equestrians are not that. Not that. Oh no. The general plot is that there's a lot of equestrians. Oh no, don't do it. Stop auto scrolling to the bottom, you dickheads. Uh, it's not good. The general plot is that there's a lot of equestrians that have been coming to Earth, and over a number of time, or after a number of years, there's been a critical mass being met of how many there should be in the country versus how many there are. And romanticism only goes so far. Our main characters in this are a younger man, mid to early 20s, who owns a gas station, a very tiny one, due to just generational ownership, and an older mare who seems to be his very affectionate companion. What's interesting is that she really does not seem to appreciate other equestrians staying, even if it's just for the night. As to why, I would like to know that too, because I don't know why. But, nothing seems stolen, nothing seems vandalized. There's nothing that he can immediately tell that says this might be a bad idea. So, yeah, he's still going with it. So far, it's been fine, right? Oh, no. Not more of the emote. Is the main character racist? I don't know. I mean, he's going after an equestrian. I mean, he's been, dare I say, conquered by an equestrian, I should say, given the volume and intensity of the affection being shared, but, who am I to say? I should write a story about it? No, I shouldn't. Here's the fun thing about this. This is what I enjoy doing. I am able, or I am proving that you do not need to focus on writing all this shit out before you just get started on it, you know? You just do it. And when it comes to this sort of thing, yeah, yeah. Stop it. It's like the Spanish Inquisition. You never expect it. Oh, fucking brain bleach. I keep losing my track whenever it comes to that. Oh yeah, that's part of the why I enjoy doing these panels because whether or not they're interesting, whether or not anyone cares, this is still an exercise in showing that you don't have to write out things to have an interesting story. For me to start off with something so simple, I mean, now there's intrigue, now there's details that you want to know. And more so, even if the pacing of things and even if the details aren't 100% fleshed out, they don't necessarily need to be. Not at the moment, anyway. You understand? So it is a self-imposed challenge for myself in real time to be able to come up with a raw story and then build upon it without any notable breaks, without taking notes, without having anything written down to go by. It's entertaining to at least one of you, I hope. I fucking hope so. I mean, I've been doing this too much, so it'd really fucking suck if I'm doing this and no one likes it. It'd be pretty awesome that I keep doing it though, just to spite everyone, but it's not nearly as fun as genuine enjoyment. But it is just, I don't know. Even if it's not writing, it, yeah. How do I turn down that? No, not the bone status. Oh no. How do I turn down the sound for this? I do not appreciate the sound of the polls. It is too loud, says I. Where's my volume thing? That's the only issue with my desktop. There's issues with the volumes and such. Oh well, doesn't matter. Ugh, the fucking GIF. Anyway, yeah, that's generally the plot of it. It's very basic. I think it's interesting because rather than having anyone actually focusing on the trip, we're seeing a third party where, well, yeah, it is basic improv, but not many people do it. And it's the same thing with writing. It's something very easy to do because Bobby, you speak English. The fuck do you mean you can't write a story in English? You fucking do it. Yeah. Anyway, we've had our 5 minutes. I hope everyone went pee pee. Because it has been an hour roughly, which goddamn time moves fast. I'm going to have me some more Crown Royal because how dare I do this sober? That's just not cricket. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Oh yeah. I know. It's not round. Rum. It is the Crown Royal blackberry flavored whiskey. I don't do rum. I've tried it before and the Captain Morgan and stuff, it never fit with me. Dr. Aka, you went pee pee in your chair. Well, is it at least warm? If it's warm, it's fine. Speaking of fine, speaking of warm, and not speaking of pee pee, time to go back to the story. And I'd never had peach, so maybe at Mayfair you should bring some peach whiskey for me. I'll try it. If you buy it, I'll drink it. So, the second night, second group of mares and stallion, a group of four rather than a group of three this time. They end up staying the night, and interestingly enough, the older mare, she's quite apt at making our Anon sleepy. Why is that? I don't know. Hard to say. The world may never know. Either way, like before, he ends up sleeping a little bit later. He has the wherewithal to wake up earlier. He kind of has an alarm just because he doesn't want another group to leave and to have to deal with, excuse me, he didn't want to have to deal with someone burping. So he turned his face away and put up his arm. So, you know. So he ends up going down and, thankfully the group is still there, which is nice. Now they're putting away all the camping stuff really quick, like they're kind of in a hurry. Now, he felt bad about it the first time because just like he didn't want to inconvenience anyone, he's not heartless like that. So he ends up going like, "Hey, you guys can leave the tents up and stuff. I mean, this is you're the second group that's been here. I have the feeling that we might get more. I don't want to be inconsiderate, but it seems like there's stuff going on where you guys can keep up the tents, it's fine. Doesn't bother me. Also, 2 second, why does Jap storytelling have so much padding? Because it's serialized and they have to make a manga which is weekly, so they have shit storytelling because they want to drag shit out. And because you can't have happy endings or endings at all. And no, I am not drunk. I dare say I am more sober than I was about an hour and 20 minutes ago. I am disgustingly fucking sober. And you should be afraid of that, Rat Pony, because I remember your name. I'm gonna remember your fucking name. Just you wait. I'm not gonna call you Cat Pony, but Rat Pony. That's how fucked you are. I'm coming after you, kid. You got no hope left. Make your peace. So, of course, he's kind of asking, you don't got to worry about this. Why are you worrying about putting this up? I mean, are you guys good? You have good sleep? Well, the uh the stallion, he's being very quiet about it. He's not necessarily being demure, but he doesn't seem like he's okay, which is kind of rough. One of the mayors brings up and he's like, "Listen, we're not we appreciate what you did. We are not trying to scam you, I assure you. We're not doing this for any other reason other than what just we needed it. We appreciate it. We're not going to get in your way. We promise. We're not going to overstay our welcome. It's just and it's he doesn't really have it in him to correct that. I bet. Stop it. It's not something to see. I'm kind of doing passing glances and then I see it come down like a fucking cascade. It's like QWOP all over again, except it's multiplayer. So he doesn't really have it in him at that moment to explain to them that there's been some misunderstanding because apparently there has. He hasn't said anything to them about them being a bother or them being anything negative. Like he thought he was being very decent, you know. He'd hope he came across as that way. I mean, it's not like he's mentioning money at any point or compensation or limiting them. I mean, all of them ate until they were full, and he emptied out his fridge and a small bit of his pantry, where again it's Frank season, all the buns and things that go with it. So it's not stuff that was going to last, but yeah, sure. He's gonna have to go to the grocery store sooner than later again. Big deal. So he at least helps them along. He insists that they take water each, so of course each one gets a gallon. He ends up giving one a backpack, and it's listen, it's not a big backpack, okay? It's kind of more, I guess, akin to a feeding bag with the way the stallion put it around his neck, but it works, right? It's something for them to help, and of course they're very thankful for it. Their tune changes not quickly, but by the time they're leaving, they seem relieved. They seem glad that he's not chasing them out or, worse, whatever this worse looks like. I have no fucking clue. He doesn't either. So he waits until they're gone, and of course, throughout the usual bustle of the day, again, vehicles. He's noting these vehicles tend to be a mix of humans and equestrians too. It's it's whatever. Some of them seem like they're pretty close. Others seem like it's just kind of a hitchhiker's solution. Some of them, more than once, he's noticed, is that it's usually the equestrians that have money. Now, he's not the sort to normally take bits, but dude, let's be honest, they kind of look like actual precious metals. He's not gonna say no. You kidding me? If this is like a 2 ounce coin and it's fucking gold, you ain't gonna say no to that. No one's gonna say no to that. If it's copper instead, 2 ounces of copper, I don't know. What even is the thing of copper? Should I check? Should I bother? Yeah, sure, why not? All right, 39 cents per copper ounce. Is that a lot? No, but if you dump 10 on your desk, you know what? It's a nice curiosity. If you ever felt like it, you could sell it on eBay for 10 bucks each. I'm sure someone would buy it, so it doesn't matter. But he's kind of starting to notice that there's more of an interesting makeup of the two that are coming. And of course, it's a rather quiet night, thankfully. Nothing big, no third group that's looking to camp out and inevitably snatch all the food that he also most recently got. The good news is, whenever he goes into town, he usually just takes his mare with him. She's pretty good at picking out stuff. She really enjoys the human cuisine, let me tell you. And not just Chef Boyardee either, but the Red Baron. Big fan of the Baron. Good stuff. Cheap pizza too. Used to be better, but whatever. So, excuse me. So they load up again, and now that's the second time he's kind of enjoying the outdoors cooking. I mean, it's a basic little gas camping stove, but it's fun. He's having fun with it. So you know what? More burgers, more franks, some bratwurst too, some hot links, just a really nice array. Even some chicken patties and all that. Why not? Get fancy, right? Because in the back of his head, he's understanding this is probably going to happen a third time, and it might happen a fourth. The first time he kind of alluded to that, she shut him down, which is very uncharacteristic. She said, "No, we can't do this. We don't have the funds to do this. It's not sustainable." She sounds very professional about it, very understanding, empathetic, and yet extremely solid on her viewpoint. So it's not like he wants to rock the boat, but at the end of the day, he's still grabbing a lot of stuff. And to be fair, he's not exactly lying to her either. It's just, hey, we've been cooking a lot of stuff. I kind of like doing the little grill action, so I'm gonna just keep doing it. Why not, right? We got variety. It's not gonna kill us. It's nice to have something different, right? Which, to be fair, neither of them are cooks, so you can imagine how that goes when it comes to delicious heat and eats as they are. So after a while, of course, they're outside in the backyard. That, funny enough, they're kind of starting to get into it themselves. They have a tent that they cleaned out, and they're not going to sleep in the tent, but they're going to hang out around the tent. It's like camping, where the bathroom is like 30 steps away, and it's not some little rickety wooden shack that's full of spiders. It's just go back inside if you got to go. It's no big deal. They're kind of enjoying it, just them under the starlit sky, which when you're that far out, the stars actually do come out. It's either that or they're satellites. It's hard to say. Uh, she did tell him once that the stars in Equestria are they're everywhere. Beautiful sight, if you can believe it. Stuff that you usually don't see anymore if you live in human society. Something many have noted too, which is why some equestrians coming to live among humans has not necessarily been the healthiest thing for them, emotionally or otherwise. So, as they're enjoying their night together, he's kind of asking, "Hey, I can understand why. I kind of get it. I mean, we're not exactly raking in the big bucks, but why are you so like? Are you defensive? Are you paranoid? What's the deal with this?" And of course, the old mare, she's, oh man, that's dog barking. That's something where she's not really keen on opening up. Not really. That's something where it takes a little bit of continual prodding, but it eventually turns into a situation of, well, it's something where she came from, one of the larger equestrian cities. There were always figures that loved to, uh, the polite way to put it, prey on charity. The sorts who came up with as many creative stories as it took to be able to get somewhere, to be somewhere comfortable, to be able to take resources from someone. And the stories that she had were, I mean, frankly, just heartbreaking. Sure, a lot of people being taken advantage of, but the way he saw it, the way he interpreted it, whether or not he intended to, is just more the dire straits someone must be going to, where they're in such a friendly society, and yet there's this sort of atmosphere where if you're below a certain point, socially or otherwise, you're just invisible. You know, everyone kind of thinks, "Oh, you'll do fine, Bucko. Just buckle up and get to it." And for some, that just doesn't seem to be the case. Like, supposedly everyone has a good talent, right? Well, not all talents are wanted. Or, what happens if you have too many people with the same talent? Well, it then becomes who has the best talent. And the downside of being the best is that you can end up starving out competition. So it's a very awkward, unfriendly conversation. I mean, he's not sorry that he asked. It's just it's unfortunately how it is. It's a lot more similar to human society than it is different. Not that he had any fantastical imaginings of how it must have been. After all, if it was so great there, why are they here, right? You would think. Uh, so by the end of it, he kind of understands. He's like, all right, well, I'll keep your stuff in mind, but it really seems to me like they're in a bit of trouble. So is it really a bad thing if we do help just in case? And of course, well, I shouldn't say of course, more like despite how she always has an answer, the only answer that she has is it's non-committal. Which it sounded like it was a solid answer at first, but the longer he kind of let it sit in his stomach, the more it seemed where it's just he wasn't really sure if she was truly saying that or if that was just something to kind of make him feel better, or to put his mind at ease. Because he's still thinking. It's twice now where the morning after the guests he's invited to stay, camping out in the back of the building are just they're acting odd. Once he can kind of get it, maybe they have a tight timetable. The second time, being able to catch the party and how they were acting, it just, I don't know, something's not sitting right with him. Now, of course, following that, our young and on indeed gets a very well earned sleep. And of course, as time continues, it then becomes a thing of, all right, well, we know it's going to happen a third time. The question is when. So now he's starting to be alert to this. He's starting to pay attention. Anyone who comes in through a vehicle, he usually checks, and it doesn't make a lot of economic sense, but he's starting to lower the price of gas just a tiny bit. It's still profit, still a very fair amount of profit. Trust me, you have a gas station and not a lot of overhead. Cars filling up is nothing but a good thing, and it's still not enough traffic where he has to put out any signs of hey, no more gas until X amount of days. So that's still good. When it comes to the figures coming in on foot or on hoof, because he's starting to see even humans with these equestrian groups, rather equestrians with these human groups. Hard to say. It's getting something where he'll start to ask questions. Hey, you guys, where you going? Uh, you got food? You got everything that you need? He's not exactly a businessman naturally, but he's starting to kind of think about it now, right? He's like, well, we got food. the gas little camp cooker. It's not fancy, but you stick it on a table. It's as good as any other cooking utensil, right? Hey, would you like burgers? You want anything, for lunch, for dinner, and it's whatever time of the day or evening that it is. You seem like you're confident and moving forward and all that. That's good. We don't have a lot of stuff to give you, but would you like dinner? We can make it. We're not a restaurant, but if you're hungry, you'll eat it, right? Uh, at first, he thought about insisting on payment. Of course, the older mayor insisted on payment, and it took a bit of stern talking to just say, "Hey, keep track of the numbers. Let me worry about what the numbers are going to be." He's not used to having to put his foot down because it's usually just been him, and he's not really trying to force stuff. That's not who he is. But when it comes to this, he's making a judgment call. If it bites him in the backside, it's just gonna bite him in the backside. He'll deal with it later. So, all right. Hey, listen, for all of you, for all five of you, because it's another group that pops up, five of them, about three humans, two equestrians. They seem like they're pretty close. They seem like they're a bunch of friends, like an actual friend group, which is cool because it means that, out there in the wilderness, they're fine. They're together. There's not going to be any issues. It, after a few failed attempts of just trying to figure out what the prices are, is like, hey, listen, how about $5 and I just get you all around? It helps cushion when I go back to town and grab stuff just for the next people, right? Not necessarily a pay it forward type situation. It's not for profit. It's just, would you be interested? And of course, the equestrians are really happy for it. Of course, the humans are less openly accepting because, they've most people have seen The Hills Have Eyes or Hostel or Saw. What are the odds that some, fucking kid at a gas station, and again, he's mid early 20s, but still, relatively speaking, just he doesn't look like a professional yet. It's like, why should we really be trusting this guy? But of course, stomachs speak louder than brains sometimes. And sure enough, 2 hours later, oh, they're all happy about it. When it comes to this group of five, it's something where it's like, oh yeah, yeah, well we came here, used to work this, a lot of contract jobs, a lot of this. Here's him due to demographic changes and population booms. He ended up kind of losing his stuff, and he's doing better now. We got something next city over. It's fine. It'll be good. It's just you know none of them have a vehicle and they're just taking the long way. That's fine. It's not a problem. All right, cool. So it gives him some more context. Of course, she's iffy on the stuff, and of course he's not telling her that it's $5 to feed five people because he's giving them seconds. He's making sure that by the end of this, when they're all happy and leaving, they're full. They're not just sated for the next evening. He's almost insisting that he fill their plates because what else are you gonna do in this situation, right? So of course, by the end of it, there's still enough for them to eat for dinner, and they do. And it's something where just out of the blue, the old mayor is like, "All right, so do you notice anything interesting about them?" And like, I don't notice what exactly. And she mentions, well, if you looked at one of the mirrors, they had a bracelet on. It's like, okay, and she's like, well, it's a friendship bracelet. You see any others wearing that bracelet? I'm like, well, not really, no. Why does that matter? And of course, she's insisting that's something where you usually don't have one without the other. It's like a lock and a key. Why would you keep one separated from the other? So she didn't really bring up much, but I don't know. That seems odd. It's an odd thing to bring up. It's an odd thing for him to fixate on because now he's kind of starting to think like, hold on, were they actually a group? I mean, no one seemed upset about it, you know? And of course, he's trying to think of his details hour to 4 hours after the fact, and he's not noticing anything odd. Nothing pops up. It's just, I don't know, they're all looking like they kind of rolled in, and I don't know. He doesn't think further than that, so it's whatever. And of course, that night too, very bountiful sleep. It kind of seems like every time there's another group that comes in, she seems to get assertive, aggressive. What would you call the right word for that? If I were pay attention, then I would say, oh, hey, maybe there's a poll. But when I look at the thing for the poll, then no, absolutely, I don't see a poll. I see the same thing as before with the bone status, and then I see the no bones, and it's all just worse yet again. God damn it. That's fine. So, all right, there's starting to be reason why he is concerned, why he should be concerned, because at first he wasn't thinking about it, and then it became a thing of, okay, well, they're just moving. Well, now there's the thing of, okay, what if they're not just groups moving? What if there's something else to it? It doesn't sit well with him. He's not exactly a figure to focus on theories. No, I'm not mesmerized. I'm just, it's not something that you normally see. It stands out, not the best way. So the next day, he's a little bit alert. He's kind of he's paying attention to like, okay, who's coming by? You know, what figure? Because there's been what over 100 people in the last week alone, and it's been going on for weeks and weeks. And now he's starting to wonder, okay, well, shit, should I be watching out? I mean, she's consistently suspicious, but the thing is, she is suspicious every time. And that one group is the only time he had anyone stay beyond a quick visit who were a mix of humans and equestrians. So he's not convinced, but he's starting to get a little bit paranoid. And of course, a few days continue after that. It's really just it's the same stuff as usual. Buying more water, buying more supplies, starting to buy more not necessarily outdoorsy supplies, but making some calls and just saying, hey, give me an extra few cases of lighters because you never know when men need fire. And this continues until eventually it's a very dead day. No one has shown up in the last like 7 hours, almost a full day of no one stopping by. Shit, he'll take that. It's a free day. Not like he gets paid by the hour, right? So he ends up just kind of out front, kind of cleaning off stuff. As nice as it is to have so many people coming in, sadly some of them leave behind trash, and the trash is just nothing that stands out, nothing negative, nothing bad. It's just it's trash, and that's part of the issue of being the groundskeeper. On top of everything, you have to do the pickup. So he's doing that, and of course the mayor and older gal that she is, she ends up helping him just because it's nice to have help with that. Out of nowhere, he kind of asks, "So, what made you want to stay here?" And keep in mind, the circumstances around how they met were, I'm not going to say similar to how the last three groups met. I mean, it was in town. He was just going to the store picking up stuff for himself, and he saw her, and she looked uh, rough. Now, of course, her constant hair frazzled mane and such is that's kind of just the default style now, which, to be fair, it's not like he's against it. Let's be honest. Would you be against it? Survey says no. In fact, survey says anything but a floppy GIF. And with that, I don't know. Maybe he didn't really want to think that negatively, and he's not exactly afraid to ask the question. He's just not really sure what he should be expecting as an answer. And of course, she's not quick to provide an answer either. And of course, eventually she does speak up, and it's like, well, I knew it was you, and something told me to. Something that sounds really nice and romantic in the moment, but it doesn't really answer his question is the thing. By the end of it, Of course, she offers to take the trash bag and go around the back and take care of it, and she'll get some stuff started, knows how to work the oven and all that, do a pizza tonight, why not? It's a nice celebratory thing. Who doesn't love pizza, right? And he's kind of yeah, thanks, because it's less for him to worry about. Uh, Even when it comes to just the idea of hey, what do you want to do for dinner? It's nice to have someone up to say hey, let's do this. It'll be fun. All right, yeah, it is fun. Uh, Really, really dissatisfied with the answer the longer he thought about it. He ends up taking a walk down the road. I mean, of course, there's nothing for a while. There's nothing for a good few miles at the very least. So he can walk for a solid 20, 30 minutes in one direction. He still sees the gas station. It's still there. It's a little bit of distance. And of course, you have the road lights that go out every, what, 30, 50 yards or so. It's not massive. It's not like you have massive dark pockets or anything. It's kind of nice. And through that, he's able to clear his head and just not necessarily like he's searching for anything, but he doesn't find anything weird, like not missing items, not discarded backpacks or cell phones or personal effects or anything like that. I mean, the sides of the roads are clear, so that's at least one less thing to worry about. But the thing that keeps sticking to him is the unsatisfactory answer of not necessarily of how they met, but just how it got to the situation that they were currently in. Because I'll be honest with you, him being the age that he is, you kind of get bombarded with the line. Is that the second time? It is. What is up with this? I had it plugged in, I had it unplugged in. Is it because I'm not doing anything on the actual computer itself? I'm just speaking that it doesn't want to pick up? Oh no. Also, haha, you got judgmental stares. Ah ha ha ha. Aha, I laugh at you. It's nice to see that when this just bleeps out. I don't know how it sounds, but it's something where still he's just kind of thinking because he's at that age where stop stop with the gif. Stop it. Especially with the bone status. Stop it. Stop it, I say. It's not funny. I'm not laughing out of joy. I'm laughing out of sheer fear. But he's kind of starting to think about it because he never really thought that hard. He never really needed to. A lot of things were just kind of handed to him. And on top of this being handed to him, this being the gas station and just he has this income and he really doesn't have to work for it that much. He now has someone who's kind of just put herself into a position in his life, and that is now just how it is. You know, it's weird. It's very strange. It's not the usual. Or let's put it this way: it sounds maybe too good to be true, which is my point. Which is maybe the point that he's starting to get to, where it's not that's necessarily too good to be true. I mean, it's everything he likes. It's not like he ever had a specific type, but she sure was it, whatever that type was. So by the time he ends up getting back to the gas station, of course, she's concerned. She's happy to see him, meets him out, maybe a good 70 yards away from the building itself. And of course, he disguises it as well. It's fine. I was just checking trash, right? Because you mentioned the bracelet thing. Maybe someone else dropped one, right? It's worth investigating, right? And of course, she agrees with that. It's very forward thinking of them. Of course, it's starting to get late outside and wouldn't want anything bad to happen. So, of course, he goes in. The pizza's a little bit on the cool side by the time he's back in. So, yeah, it's whatever. Deal with it. Uh, that night, whew, let me tell you this way. It's good it's an auditory story experience with only one narrator. Otherwise, I dare say things might have been rather intriguing. Instead, You'll have to use your imagination at a later date and just say that it was indeed a night to remember, if he could remember anything past the first 20 minutes of it. So there's starting to be a theme here. I don't know if you noticed, but every time that he starts to ask questions or just seems interested in something, there's something incredibly quick to happen where it's just, oh, hey, what are those? Thoughts? Haha, silly. Don't think thoughts, just enjoy. So, all right, sure, he does. Except the following morning, he is prepared. Not that he's expecting it, but he's just been setting his alarm because, let's face it, it's not a good look to constantly sleep in. Even if you are tired, just, drink a soda, drink some coffee, do something. Just don't don't spend all day in bed. And of course, this one time when he wakes up, he's able to notice something. Not that he saw it, but he heard it. Just shouting, more shouting. And of course, there is something where he doesn't go in through the front because uh, giant glass windows out in front. It's kind of obvious to tell when someone's there. So instead, he ends up going around the side, the far side of the moon, or the gas station. If only the gas station was called the moon, right? Sadly, the person thinking of the story didn't think that far ahead, so too bad. It's a pun gone unfulfilled. He goes in and he sees, of course, his older mare just outright screaming, saying the most vile things to this couple, this pair. And oddly enough, it's a human female and a mare, and they look like they're a couple just because it's that type of thing where you see the way they're dressed, and it's like there's BFFs, and you're pretty sure something's going on. He's not so far from modernity that he's not able to understand that perhaps there might be something going on. So he waits until it reaches a fever point where the mayor is mentioning that just they don't have any sort of resources to give them. They're not a charity. No, there's not anyone around, which is interesting because he's around. That's not how that goes. More so, she's really starting to sound like she owns the place, or she's trying to make others believe that she owns the place. That's not going to fly. Not with him. Not with him. So, right on cue, as if it's been some sort of backwards sitcom, as soon as she mentions that, there's no one here who is going to, not someone who can, but no one here is going to help. He kind of rounds the corner and he says, "Oh, hey, what what's going on? Why is all there this why is there shouting again exactly? What's going on?" He's playing it up a tiny bit where, he's groggy, he's sleeping, he's like, "Oh man, whew, listen, I heard something, I don't know what's going on, but how can I help, right?" He's being very tactful about this, which it's not necessarily known to be tactful, but it comes out in that clutch moment of such high energy, ferocity, and antagonism that's coming out of someone he really didn't think was capable of that sort of thing. And of course, the pair, they're just, uh, of course, the humans they just want to leave. And of course, the equestrians very quick to try to explain that, hey, they're not trying to do anything fancy. They're not trying to get anything, quote unquote, get anything. Just, hey, we're looking for directions. Well, that directions? All right. For those playing at home, a highway tends to have two directions, forward and backwards. If you're asking for directions, you're just moving forwards or backwards. So that's odd. The entire situation is odd. He's been caught flat-footed about every single aspect of this, and given what he is now being told, it's like, oh yeah, can give us some directions. It's like, all right, well, hold on now. Number one, the only directions you do is you go in or out, and then you go to this new town, and then you follow roads or you ask them, right? Number one. Number two, why the severe freak out if it's just for directions? That's number two. Number three, he sells maps. Like they're old. They're I don't know. They're 30 years old. They're older than him. No one's bought a map in the last 20 years anyway. It started with the GPSs, now the cell phones, and now everything's got a fucking map built into it. You're looking for directions? I take a fucking map. They're free. What are you going to charge for that anyway? 25 cents? They're not even worth the paper they're printed on anymore these days. It might not even be up to date. After all, there's no internet connection. Father, how do I click the map? It won't tell me how to go through Google. Well, it's whatever. That's number three. Number four is the humans very, very quick to disengage. Like a guilty level of just trying to get away from the situation. And I don't know. It's weird. This entire situation feels weird. So, the questions on directions. What do you say to that? Well, it's like, well, if you're not if you're not able to show me where you're wanting to go, if you're not sure where you want to go, the only thing I can reliably say is head back into town. There's plenty of places that'll help you. I'm sure there's some sort of bus station or something that'll help you. Surely, just I that might be the safer option because if you go that much out into the unknown, you're just gonna get more lost, right? And I don't know where you're going. He's not asking where they're trying to go. It's just he's trying to give them a more concise, direct answer of this is maybe the direction you want to go. And of course, the human accepts it, and the equestrian seems to kind of accept it. It doesn't seem like she's satisfied with the answer, which you're not satisfied with this situation. He's not satisfied with the situation. This is a very unsatisfying situation to be in. And yet that's how it is. So, all right, whatever. They end up leaving. The thing is, they end up leaving not in the direction of the nearest town, but they just keep going on down the road. So, I I don't know, man. Maybe they got lost. Maybe they're still lost. Maybe out of some sense of pride, they know where they're going, just not the unique, keen details. He's not asking all these things. But by the time they're very well out of ear and eye shot, he ends up bringing in, the older mare into the gas station where everything's nice and quiet and not quite soundproof, but you're gonna have to be very sneaky to be outside and listen. And he's like, "All right, what happened here? What exactly do you think you were doing?" And again, he's not the confrontational type. He's not the sort to be this proud, hard-nosed business owner. It's not him. The shit got dropped on his lap at 18, and he's just been dealing with it, dick out in the wind. And of course, she's not really answering the questions directly. She's saying, "Oh well, they were looking to do this and they were looking to do that, and like it's petty theft and taking advantage of hospitality and all sorts of things where they're starting to be word out there of some place where you can just get whatever you want. It's a lot of very distasteful ways to characterize what he had been offering just out of sheer positivity. I mean, what do you do in that situation, right? It you can't be in this for profit. Not if it's just like crisis. You can't just shove them off the side and just say, I don't want to deal with you. And that's not what it's about. I don't know what it is about. He doesn't know what it is about. I mean, it's about making money at the end of the day. Is that all that matters when it comes to his position? He doesn't know. She doesn't seem to think so, or maybe she does, which is why she wants to boot him out. But by the end of it, they're in a very awkward position where he doesn't quite understand her, and it doesn't seem like she's willing to understand him better, which is very uncharacteristic for an equestrian, being this hardline about something that seems so uncharitable and inhospitable, inhospitable, inhospitality. I don't know. I've been drinking a little bit of Crown. I don't know if I've been drinking too much where I'm starting to not be able to speak so good anymore, but it doesn't really matter. I write on a fucking, what, 10th grade reading level, and most people can read that. So if I can speak anything resembling the same thing, I'm in good hands. Except we can't say hands, can we? This isn't the place to say hands. So, whatever. The entire day is a little bit on the tense side. It's not like he's advertising anything. And yeah, I think if all these figures walking around, they don't seem to have phones, they don't really seem to have a lot of easy communication, how is word spreading? You know? Like that's another question. That's just it. There's a lot of things that are just starting to not really add up to him. Not completely. That's bothering him. It's bothering everyone. It's bothering the shit out of her because she's just, it's very weird when you see someone so lax who is so focused on cleaning the same areas about 5 times and just stalking out the windows. So, of course, you get the usual spatterings of people throughout the day, and of course, near the evening time, there's another group. It's only a group of four, 3 humans, 1 equestrian. Can't be that bad, right? Well, here's the thing. It's not like they're closed for the day, but the group is not really trying to enter the gas station. It seems like they're just kind of just standing around, like not loitering, but they're kind of using that area as a landmark to kind of talk and just chill. Now, his instinct is to go out there and talk to them because why not, right? You're bored out of your mind. You kind of want to understand what's going on out there in the outside world, and it's just, it's a decent thing to do. And she's just saying, hey, if they want to talk to us, they can come inside, which is also a fair point because it's weird that they're kind of out there, and they're not really they're not really doing a lot. They're just kind of loitering, which is odd to do at a gas station a few good miles out of town. And again, it's mostly humans, but there is 1 equestrian. Uh, the humans, let's see, what, 2 males, 1 female. The equestrian, you honestly can't tell. You're not going to try to figure that out, and to be honest, you don't really care. To be honest, it's not going to change the way you think. Okay? You're not going to say they all look the same anyway, because some look very clearly different. But in this situation, just do whatever. So he ends up listening to her, and they just kind of they focus on themselves. Of course, you have things that are visible, things that are whatever slash for prices, which let's put it this way. The Gatorades in the back, even though he keeps buying them, they've been on quote unquote sale for 50 cents a bottle for the last 3 years because he's just been too lazy to take down the signage. And to be fair, no one ever gets Gatorade anyway. Why? I don't know. Because Monster exists. But to be fair, it means he gets to drink the Gatorades. So it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, if you're out walking all this distance, you would think 50 cents Gatorade wouldn't be bad. Well, no one's coming in, no one's buying anything. And, as time goes on, they're not really moving along, and the sun is no longer as high in the sky as it should have been. Now, she's been paranoid this entire time. He is also starting to become a little bit concerned, let's call it, because they're just talking, they're sitting, they're resting. Again, nothing wrong with that. But after a certain point, it is just a teensy bit questionable. So, all right. While it's not exactly subtle, in the backyard. He kind of kept up two tents and a few things. He's quietly putting them away. Not completely packed, but he's setting everything down and bringing it inside because I don't know, he has the idea three humans, one equestrian. Maybe they might not be so charitable and stuff. I mean, maybe that's his personal bias, right? It's whatever. So he brings that in. He doesn't really make much noise out of it. Uh, a little shower corner. I mean, it's a water hose and a few bits of pallets behind a dumpster. So, you know, where are they gonna steal the pallets? If they can walk off with the pallets like that, they can have them. Whatever. It's less for him to worry about. So eventually they kind of close down. They have the lights and stuff. They're hanging out in the front. Another pizza night, so another night with the Baron. Pretty fucking sweet if you ask me. And they're still there, and I don't know. She's concerned. She's only gotten more concerned because she's like, hey, they're staying here. There's four of them and two of us. Should we really be okay with this? And I say this with complete honesty. He's never had to deal with any sort of rough situation when it comes to this sort of thing. Because again, location, location, location. No one cares, right? And he's starting to go, well, this is weird. He hasn't gone out to greet them, but neither have they ever come in to greet him. And it doesn't seem like they're really paying attention, which is starting to get a little bit spooky. Her having successfully made him worried has made him go from, oh, hey, let's help, to, listen, if I do call the cops, it's like a half hour. Well, due to a little bit of needling and, of course, it being painted as their safety, and of course the property safety, because how's he going to protect himself and her against three humans, right? And it's worded like that specifically. It's the humans that are the danger part, not the equestrian. All right, well, he feels dirty doing it, but he ends up calling a local sheriff's office, and of course they know the place, whatever highway patrol. Sometimes they'll stop by, and of course, just it's there, it's decent, and he kind of explains the situation where it's like, oh yeah, it's not bad. It's just for like the last 6 hours, like these three dudes and this equestrian they're just here, and of course the standard question of, well, have you told them they're trespassing? It's like, well, no, I haven't spoken to them at all. Like, all right, well, have they bought and everything? Or like anything at all? You're like, no, nothing. They're just out there. It's like they're not bothering me necessarily, but the sun's starting to go down and we're not open all throughout the night. You understand? And of course, it's, oh yeah, yeah, we'll check out. And of course, as soon as there is a vehicle on the road, and the group leaves, they walk off. They don't talk to anyone. They don't leave any evidence behind that they were there. Maybe a few cigarette butts, but that blows away so easy. It doesn't really matter. And they end up getting not a sheriff, but a deputy instead, just saying, "Oh, hey, look, it's deputy so and so, whatever county. Got the phone call, and I've heard that you guys have been doing pretty well. I see you coming in town a lot more often for stuff. It seems pretty cool that you're doing the stuff." And he's like, "What do you mean?" This is the first he's heard of it. He's just gone in and grabbed shit, right? Well, dig this. Apparently, there has been a growing rumor that the gas station is trying to turn into some sort of hospitality thing. Now, this is the first time he's heard of it. He's never had anyone come up to him asking for his word on this. And of course, he's like, I don't know anything about that. What do you mean? So of course the deputy goes on and says, well, you've been coming in. There's been a few groups where, they end up going somewhere, and of course, how those equestrians are. They're really, really talkative, sometimes detrimentally so. And it just turns into, well, they kind of found out that, yeah, they come here, you help them out. You're curiously helpful. which is the way the deputy puts it, which sends Aranon a bit on the back foot. It's like, well, what do you want me to do? He's like, well, I'm not telling you how to run your business, but this is just what I've heard. And it's, by the end of it, it's not that his skin is crawling, it's just he really didn't want it to be seen as this way. He's helping people. Who doesn't want to help people, right? It's just the worst part is that the older mayor, she's not correct in this. She really isn't. Like she went so far off into her own direction that it's not what he wants. And of course, when it comes to him, it's just eh, he doesn't like that either. Eh. So, all right, well, whatever. They're gone. The reason why they had there, it's just they're gone. There's no one left there. All right, cool. They are rumors about the gas station now, apparently that he helped cause. Who's spreading it? He has no clue. The only thing he can guess is that he keeps coming into town to grab stuff. Stuff that's, more than just what him and someone else can eat in a week or two. And now, of course, Aranon doesn't know this, but ever since he ended up having that equestrian, there were rumors starting because, let's face it, you're a normal person, you're Joe Blow, and then you see this dude with an equestrian that's, what, slightly taller than waist high, seems to be very, very friendly with you, very affectionate even. To a lot of people, that just doesn't seem right. For people like you and me, that seems fine. Slightly envious depending on your age range, but it's whatever. But oh, it is the sin of a town that is not big enough to mind its own business at the end of the day. So, at least with all that figured out with the deputy gone, and of course he insists, hey, before you head out, be good on gas. And of course he's good on gas, but you gotta ask, right? You gotta be a natural salesman when it comes to gas stations. And let's face it, you kind of want to be on the friendly side when it comes to those who will be able to come and protect you because, well, when you're out in the middle of nowhere like that, it helps. And Aranon, sadly, for better or worse, does not have the most of self-defense capacity. So it's 9:45 on my time. Let's do another 5 minutes. It has it been 2 hours already? Jesus Christ, it has. Has it felt like 2 hours? I honestly don't know if it has. I don't know how many of you are actually listening to this. So, uh, and yes, Cowboy. That unfortunately seems to be the reality of the situation. Is that Arnon is known as the local horsefucker, and sadly, it is not. It's not that positive. How unfortunate. And Koei, I am not reading. I am not reading anything. This is all telling a story through my mouth hole with zero prompting, zero text. Like I'm looking at nothing. I'm looking at how I should have had a better image for this stream, but I thought it was an hour from when it actually started because of the time zone. So I was thinking I'll put it off until maybe 8 and then 8:45 I'll get it done. I didn't know it was 7:43. Hey, it's time to go. Oh fuck. So I just had to restart my computer and boot up OBS and my stream key's the same, so I just, whatever. And yeah, another hour of this. So I guess I'm honestly surprised that so many people are listening to this. I mean, every other time I've done this, it's usually past midnight. So it makes sense that everyone's sleeping. So it's kind of nice to see that some people are paying attention. But no, there is no text for me to go off of. There's none of this. Just none. I'm going for it. Just fucking swinging for the cheap seats. Also, who is my favorite pony? My favorite pony is let me let me show you there, Bucko. Let me show you my fucking favorite pony. You don't even fucking know. Oh, you don't even know. How could you know? You don't know. You don't something something something. However the Modest Mouse song goes. Ba, 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 ba. There we go. Enjoy. Oh, hey, nice. The story time panels. I'll admit I'm really shit at going to other panels. It's like reading other stories that people write. I'm just I'm kind of a dickhead. I focus on my own stories and then I kind of also if people are asking who, maybe you should read the green that is called Jackie because that is around 4 years worth of stories. And this is a very goofy fucking mare who deserves to be made fun of. And I absolutely do not have two custom plushes of, if I can get the image right, if I can get the image right, if I can get the image right. Why is this image so big? Yeah, there we go. Not like I have two plushes on her. No, not that that says anything, but you know. Uh, what am I bringing back bootleg? Once I am done with a lot of my external stuff, that's the biggest reason why I haven't been writing is focusing on that sort of stuff, and it really sucks. But I like to imagine that once things are done, I can get back to being a complete fucking nobody and just get back to writing. That's my goal. And that's why bootleg has not yet been given my full on attention yet. Also, since I'm just showing off pictures now, yeah, fuck it. Ta-da! Here's the Twiggles. Here's some Anon fillies. Here's all the tiny bootleg mares. This is Starsky. This is Shiner. That's Rare in the back with the pink leg. That's a Loaf. That's a copy of Skyrim because Todd from Bethesda gave me a copy of Skyrim with my mini mares. There's Angel Cake. There's a tiny non-filly right there. Right there, there's Twill, another classic bootleg. There's Jackie right there. There's Faint Prison right there. So, I'm uh I'm fucked up. Also, do not wait for me to revive bootleg. By all means, if you have a story, tell your story. You don't rely on me to push that momentum. At the end of the day, there's a lot of people out there who I'm sure have really good stories, and whether I'm around or not, you need to be able to tell your character story. And that's where I am with that, I guess. Yeah, and yeah, it's. I mean, I can post a lot more pictures if you want. It's we got another 55 minutes of storytelling, bucko. And since there are panels supposedly after me, after this, I mean, I can keep talking, but I don't know how long it's going to be. I'll have like 15 minutes before the next Game Jam revisit, and that's 4 hours. Sheesh. So, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, it's been a while. I should drink my booze. Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh, delicious. Man, I started a full bottle. What are we at? Maybe 10% due to how the bottle tapers. Let's say 15. Mm, delicious. Oh, I gotta blow my nose. I don't have anything to blow my nose with. I got napkins. All right, since this is the home stretch of the story, I'm gonna blow my nose, and I don't know. Give me a second. Okay, the nose has been blown. Oh, that's good bourbon too. Is it bourbon? No, it says whiskey. I don't remember the difference between bourbon and whiskey right now. And yes, right fags are more clicky. Notice I have the click of myself and like 3 people a year who try to talk to me on Discord for like 2 hours total. So yeah, no, the total. How about this? Total clout fag death. Can we all agree on that? If you're in this for clout, if you do shit for clout, just fuck off. If you just do stuff for the love of the game and for mares, then just do it for mares. Do it for mare. That's all that fucking matters. Don't think about anything else. Also, gonna drink some water before I finish. Oh, that's all I'll say about the clout fag shit. I fucking hate it. I don't like the clicks. I don't like the social standing. I don't like the figures that try to show off how important they are. It's like, dude, I am a niche within a niche. I'm like a 7 layer burrito of niches, you understand, when it comes to the shit I fucking write. No one fucking cares. Thinking otherwise is pure folly and is I don't know, man. Then again, I write greens. If I were to write more traditional stories, I'm sure I would have many mere cosplayers trying to touch my pee at a convention. So also, with next Storytime Power, you did something with, or you had someone with you and you just went. Well, I'll say this: if I ever had someone to go back and forth with me on a Storytime panel, I would do it. I just don't know anyone who would. Who wants to go for 3 hours doing this stupid shit, right? So, oh boy. Anyway, let's continue the story. We got what, another 50 minutes? I'm sure we'll be done before that point, surely. Anyway, so by the end of the deputy visiting, uh, Arnon is thank you, Cody. I've been told that my voice is very interesting. So, also Ponky Tonk, that's why most of the clout chasers tend to be home of sexuals because they tend stop it with the gift. Stop it. Time for me to no longer look at chat and focus on the story. So, anyway, the I'm just gonna keep going through pictures now. This is now a story time and picture panel. Get fucked if you're not paying attention to this. If you're not seeing this shit, get fucked. I am showing high quality primo mares made by AZG Chip, who may or may not be paying attention to this, but he is a cool guy, and I've gotten drunk with him at least once or twice. So there's your shill, as if he doesn't sell out every 4 fucking hours at every new convention he does. Fucking weirdo. He wishes he was Texan, by the way, but he's not. Did you know that? He's not actually Texan. Never let him forget he's not Texan. He's not Texan. He'll never be Texan. He'll never be Texan. As much as he wishes, he'll never be Texan. I gotta say it, just in case he didn't hear me the first 7 times. Anyway, I'm not looking at chat. I'm not looking at the goofy fucking GIF. I got the schedule up, so I know what time to stop. Aranon is a little bit distraught after the deputy leaves because keep in mind this entire time he's just been rolling with it, you know? He doesn't pay attention to the news. He doesn't pay attention to much of fucking anything, I guess. He just he enjoys the simple life that he has. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know? There really isn't. So when he just started doing the camping stuff and the food and and insisting that he's not trying to make a big deal out of it, it's just other people have. And it of course that night, uh the older mayor does very good at ensuring he has a restful sleep, just put it that way, and helps flush out any questionable thoughts he may have had regarding their history and union. I can't get much more explicit than that, unless you were to go to old threads that I used to write in. Not that anyone remembers what those threads ever were. But the morning after he's well rested, he feels like he has a clear head. He feels like he's understanding enough. He might not understand everything, but he understands enough that he gets why the concern. He gets why maybe he was going at this a different slash possibly wrong way. And he gets that maybe he should be I I don't know. Colder? That's not the right way to put it. That's not what he wants to be. Uh Sterner? No, of course that's not it either. Because he doesn't want to be stern to anyone coming in because if they're coming in and they're hungry, well, he wants to help them. It's not about the money, you understand. It's he's not trying to do anything but help. That's it. That's his issue. He just wants to help. That's it. And of course, apparently there I we can only guess that some have tried to take advantage of it. Of course, we can only guess that the older mayor has been very pushy, just in case they might be taking advantage of it. Of course, there's the group of the 3 people and the one equestrian where it's just he had no clue what they were doing, but just he got that spidey sense that it wasn't really a good idea to go out there and talk to them, outnumbered. So, the next few days, it's gotten worse. There's more and more people stopping by. It's starting to turn into almost every day there are not necessarily caravans, but groups, camps, like sizable amounts just walking. Just there it's always in the same direction too. It's always from the closer, smaller town towards the much further away, much larger town. And it of course the few times he goes into town to ask around, it's like, oh well, it's he's heard that some of them, well, they came in from Virginia, and some of them came in from Colorado. Some of them came from, not even this country. Like they went through the border and it's like they've been traveling 2 continents for like years and years. And of course, so many of these are so outlandish, so unrealistic. It's like, really? They're coming out here in the middle of nowhere? What are they looking for? What could they possibly be looking for? Well, I don't know. He doesn't know. The people telling him the stories that, oh, well, you rest assured, they know for sure. Uh-huh. They're not gonna just say shit. No, they know for sure what's going on. Well, it's hard to say. And not only is it hard to say, it's very awkward because the longer he asks these people, the more they kind of say, well, you have an equestrian, don't you? Why shouldn't you know? Aren't you a part of this? Like, hold on. What do you mean a part of what? By the way, new picture. I like it. I like it a lot. And it's just the type of thing of like, all right, well, the more questions he's asking, apparently, the more people are starting to kind of say like, well, why are you asking us? You should be more aware of this than we are. And that doesn't help him either because the older marriage, she's been with him for at this point almost a year. Has it been that long already? I mean, it doesn't feel like it, but at the same time, he honestly can't think of going back to on his own because one, the help is really nice. Two, he doesn't technically give her a paycheck. Whether or not he should, she's never asked, he's never insisted on it, and they tend to share stuff anyway, and that's kind of how that's working. Maybe arguably positively not a good look on his side, understandably. But at the same time, she never asked. So, you know, it, she is correctly entitled to some sort of just, she is kind of running things with him. All right, I get it. Sadly, not everyone else does. So they end up going back to the gas station. It's another week or two. And again, these larger caravans are just, they're getting to the point where every half hour there's another batch. And by batch I mean anywhere from 2 to 2 dozen people. Like stuff is accelerating. And it's whatever he was doing before, he's not doing now because wasn't it a group of three? Yeah, he'll give them some food and he'll help them along. It's not an issue. A group of four, dude, it's not an issue. It isn't. But when it gets to when you see a group of 12 come in and come in proverbially they're on the property. You see three come in and they're spending all their money on sugary snacks. Not that a gas station is a good place for food. Let's get that under control immediately. It's not the best place for that. But you know what? They're not getting what they could. And it's bugging him because if they prepared in town better and just went to a grocery store, like a can of pineapples, like $2. You don't need to even add Kool-Aid to it. It's just $2, can of pineapples. You can share it between three friends. Then you get to drink the water after or the juice after. Or yeah, it's loaves of bread. Like he's done, the homemade meatball subs before. Not well, but he's done them. And just like the fresh bread, dollar a loaf, not a big deal. And it's just it's not clicking with these people who come in, and some of them look more ragged than others. Some of them look suspiciously clean but dirty, if that makes sense. Like they're kind of starting to just, they look like they rolled around in the grass like a half hour ago. Because you can tell the clothes are not in a bad condition, but it looks like just someone fucking took a dirt nap and then woke up and then rolled around. It's not good. It's not convincing. Let's put it that way. If we want to be paranoid, which at this point everyone kind of is, it's not convincing. So he's just he's not offering stuff for free anymore, and that bugs him. And of course, the older mare, she picks up on this easy. I mean, she's very in tune with him. Call it experience, call it affinity, call it whatever you want, right? But she tends to know which way his wind is blowing. And and of course she mentions, hey, it's not a sin to not help these people beyond what you're offering. And you got to remember what you're offering, it can't be for free forever because you are going to run out. We are going to run out of resources if we just keep giving things for free. And he's starting to believe that maybe she's right, you know, and that maybe, perhaps by choice, she might be more correct than wrong. which doesn't necessarily mean that he's wrong. It just means that I don't know what it means. It means he should stop doing what he's doing. Maybe. And of course he doesn't like that. He has it's not a it's not a positive thing to rest on. So of course more time passes. He's doing his best to ignore the groups outside. And he's starting to see more variation in ages where, it looks like it not just a group, but maybe a couple. Or maybe it's not just a couple, but oh Jesus Christ. Is it a couple of kids? Is it a Brady Bunch thing where they had kids and then they came together and that's how they're their Brady Bunch? No one knows. He's not gonna go out there and ask. Because keep in mind, last time they went into town, he stocked up pretty well. Like they're good. They're eating really well. Sometimes it's still dinner with the Baron. Other times, like, dude, steaks and pork chops are on sale. They're eating nice, okay? Not not super nice, but for the quality of stuff they're getting for cheap, oh, it's nice, I assure you. So it's the type of thing where he feels kind of awkward. Just they have this stuff, and I don't know. Is it too much empathy? Should he expect more or less out of this sort of thing? He doesn't know. And of course, the more he starts to close out of it, the more she starts to kind of not necessarily take the rein, but she's acting as a solid, sturdy pillar of support for him. Where, you know, eventually someone comes in and they just say, "Hey, listen, we got $20. Do you have anything fresh for us?" And it kills them to flounder. It kills them to just sit there and kind of try to shrug off the question like, oh, he doesn't know, well, he doesn't know anything about that, and of course she's quick to say, yeah, I know. Sadly, the only stuff we have here is what's on the shelves. There's a delivery 3 days from now, and it, it doesn't matter what day it is. It doesn't matter if it's true. It's always there's a new shipment 3 days from now. Because, sometimes they do stock actual loaves of bread. Sometimes they do stock, actual just canned fruit and canned soup. I mean, it's not a good price. It is a gas station, remember. But just it's starting to get to the point where they're not exactly selling out, but some things are starting to run out fast. And that's a good thing business wise. It's not a good thing when it comes to humanity and when it comes to this young lad's sense of empathy. So, of course, it's whatever. It's a bit of a roller coaster. By day, he does his best to remain stoic and seem busy, and I'll be honest, after a certain part, he's starting to trust her to take care of the front. Because even if he was wary of her shouting and all that, well, you know what? He's starting to understand why. Or he's starting to hope that he understands it. Because even at this point, he may not understand necessarily that self-sacrifice is only something that can be done so much. After that, it starts to just be detrimental, and that's rough. It's a very rough lesson to learn for anyone, and the way he's learning it is on the proverbial front lines of this conflict. And for him, it doesn't matter the reason where or why or who started it or who started spreading the word or the rumors or anything that's not true, but, you know, after a an attempt at a conversation, at least one thing she does stick is, all right, say we do continue to do this. Do we go into town every day? You know, do we close down the gas station and just become a charity case, an Airbnb? How many times are you willing to risk anyone stealing? And when they steal, what are they gonna steal? Just some bags of chips? They're gonna steal something else. They're gonna steal the keys to the car. The car gonna be gone. he doesn't have an answer for this. So it's more and more, it's not that she's becoming the face, but she's becoming the de facto member to deal with equestrians. Because you may not have noticed, but he seems to have a thing for an equestrian. Right or wrong, that is indeed his bag, baby. Even wrote a book about it, just like Austin Powers. Never got published, so, technically it doesn't count. But as just, he's starting to rely on her more, and it kind of reaches a head where it's the evening. Yeah, and of course, there's been, what, months of this going on? Months. Think of that. Over 100 days of seeing this stuff. And of course, the rumors have died down because, every now and again where they go back in town, sometimes they're actually restocking things, even if it's just toiletries or, stuff for like shampoo and all that. Because, sometimes, right, it's nice to get out and just kind of be somewhere else and kind of gauge things. Like, the rumors are still there, of course, but them not reacting, of course, her not reacting so strongly, him not reacting so strongly, a lot of things are starting to die down, which is good, technically. And eventually got to the point of, all right, well, we're going there, and just no one's saying anything, which is good, business as usual. Same with any tragedy, for better or worse. Just people get used to the suffering of others. And if you're not that well related to them, most people don't care. And to be honest, to be fair, that's not necessarily a sin either. That's just you can only care about so many people, especially if you're not in a position of infinite wealth, you know? So it's weeks and weeks after this, and it's an evening, and our young he's deciding to finally kind of put away the pallets that made the little shower area that they had because I don't know, just taking out the trash occasionally, which it's all inorganic stuff. It's like nothing causes a stink. It's just it's cardboard. It's always cardboard. And like once every few months it gets emptied. Like seasonal almost. So it's nothing bad. And it's rough because when he ended up putting away the pallets and stuff with the hose, he saw that someone had actually made a little box fort out of cardboard boxes and stuff with the hose that had been kind of more or less pulled in, and apparently someone was sleeping there, which means they had a squatter, but it means that there was also someone there who was desperately in need of shelter, and yeah, that kind of got to him actually. It wasn't something that he enjoyed cleaning up. Now, of course, there were no signs that anyone used it. I mean, the boxes that were kind of bent into place and made like a little faux pas nest of sorts. It had been days since they'd been bent because, you bend cardboard away and it just kind of slowly gets back into place, and whoever made it had moved on. And, of course, he ends up doing rounds at night, just walking around. And of course, he never sees anything. Not after cleaning that up, but he never really told the older mayor that. That's something that stuck with him. And of course, all the pallets went back and stacked place, and the dumpster got put back into position, and it's just it's fine. It's fine, but it's not. It's not fine actually. It's not for him. So it eventually it kind of comes to a head after a certain point. Because again, every now and again you kind of start to see certain trends, you know? Like you see standard, working age adults, they're moving, the nice great American adventure, they're just moving on to the next job spot and all that. And you find some where, they seem decent. It's just, all right, there's a couple with kids, and it's almost always equestrians with humans too. It's never just one. Like you're not gonna find a group of normal humans out there walking because, everyone has a car, right? Excuse me. But when it comes to the human equestrian mix or just equestrians, it's something that's starting to just kind of get on them. And it kind of gets to the point where they end up having a lunch, and he's been quiet because he's been thinking of a lot of stuff as this has continued. I mean, it's his first introduction into any sort of world event, and it's not through a newspaper because who fucking reads the newspaper, right? I mean, maybe the funnies, right? Like the Saturday morning comics. Who can say no to Blondie, right? Nah, nah, nah. I'm just kidding. I never really cared for that comic, but I did enjoy Garfield, so whatever. But outside of stuff like that, he's starting to really understand that this is him understanding what's going on, and that's rough. He's right there in the thick of it. So it's over lunch, and he just kind of mentions out of nowhere. He asks, "Did you know about the little cardboard fort out in the back, eh?" And of course, the older mare, she is hesitant. She doesn't answer immediately, and for some reason that doesn't sit right with him. It, mm, the answer that she gives is very unsatisfactory. Of, oh yeah, I think I saw that maybe once. And of course, the immediate question that he has, which is way too immediate to be a response for him to be okay with that, is why didn't you tell me anything about it? She doesn't really answer that. So, okay. This is the one thing that's truly stuck on his mind the entire time. And her knowing about it means that she could have had a hand in what happened. So, of course, he's chewing on his food. He's letting it sit. He's trying to muster up the courage to speak up because again, this Anon is very used to going with the flow. He's used to just enjoying how stress-free life can be. And when you're in that position, you really don't need to worry about a lot. You're kind of grandfathered in. So he's just this is the one thing that has really, truly, harshly stuck to him. So it's after a while he re-asks the question, why didn't you tell me anything about the cardboard fort out there? And it takes her a while to answer. Now, of course, with her being an older mare, she is more apt when it comes to keeping her emotions guarded, which means in some cases she's a lot better than him when it comes to hiding things and not giving straight answers. And of course, the only thing she does say is, well, it would have caused a lot of problems for us. And of course, he doesn't really like that answer. Like, well, what problem would this have caused? And of course, she brushes it off. She's like, well, Obviously, it was just going to be a freeloader who was going to try to, butt in. Butt in. What does that mean? What is she talking about? And then it, he's never been dismissive isn't the right word. He's never been aggressive. Maybe sometimes before bedtime, but it's usually just something where he doesn't often question her or confront her. Not that it's a lack of bravery. It's just he's never had to. They've always just they've been together, right? It's been both of them together. Good stuff. And this is the first time it's just mm, it's not right. So I I need to have some sort of like background stuff going on. I think absolutely zero noise coming into the headphones causes them to disconnect. Whether me talking into the mic doesn't do anything, doesn't mean shit. So yeah, uh, I think that's a hardware limitation. I don't think that's me fucking up anything. So yeah, and the question is, what does that mean? What does he mean by that? What did they mean by this, chat? What does it mean? Clip that right there. And it just turns into, well, obviously she was in a bad position. She insisted upon staying here without telling us, without talking to you, without talking to me. And no, not the wiggle noise, goddamn you. We're almost done with the story. Come on, we got 20 minutes. And then another 15 minutes after that for me to keep talking at you. Especially you, Nolan Void. How you doing, Noel? I think I've spoken to you before. I think. Or my little, all lowercase. Where are you? You're not in chat. You got a little clock next to your name. So it now this is starting to be upsetting to him as well as her because she's never really had him, for better or worse, question her to begin with. So it just turns into a thing of, well, how do you know that she was going to try to butt in? Why do you say butt in? She again, she's trying to maintain her poise, and she's not exactly doing the best job at it. She's like, well, there are a lot of mares out there that will throw themselves at you and try to play the victim so they can get an easy life out here. I can't say if that was the right thing for her to say because when they first met, she was in town. She seemed to be in a very, very poor position. And he didn't really think about it at the time. He he couldn't do nothing, you know? So he ended up inviting her back and next thing he knew I mean they were a couple. Like he didn't even have to think about it. Thinking on it now, did he even ever really ask her out? Like there was really no like courtship traditionally. And it kind of happened one night where she just kind of I don't know what's the appropriate way to say this. Launched herself at him. A fucking GIF. Why is that GIF even available? Why is that even a thing there? Who put that there? Who did it? Why is that there? Since when? Jesus Christ, man. It's the one weirdest thing because it's don't do it. Don't do it. It's bad. It's bad for you. It's bad for me. It's bad for everyone. And of course, just it it doesn't feel good for her to say that because isn't that kind of what happened to them? Isn't that what caused everything to be how it is? And of course, that's for that night he insisted on sleeping alone in a different room where they're not sleeping together. And I'm sure she understood why. I'm sure he understood why, and it just kind of turned into a situation where there's this sense of strong, uncomfortable air between them. Now, of course, even if there is this strong, uncomfortable air between them, they still have their daily job to do, and he's not doing a lot to confront. And of course, with everything having gone on, he hasn't completely withdrawn yet being the key word, but he's when he's at the register, he's very dry. He's very, very just matter of fact of, all right, is there anything you want? Hey, this is on sale if you want it. It's yeah, the Gatorades because he keeps forgetting they're on sale. No one fucking buys them. He's like, all right, well, just hey, if you're going on a journey, on like a big hike, and he's keeping it vague on purpose, right? He's trying to distance himself away from what exactly is going on every single day that he's seeing, and he's trying to kind of keep it neutral and like, hey, you may not like it, but maybe you would like a little something like these. They're 50 cents. That's it. And he's hoping they go for it, and some do, some don't, and it's rough. And of course, it's not something he can keep up with the entire time. After a certain bit, it there's another dinner, just the two of them, and he outright asked her, it's like, all right, I admit it's a shame on me. I've never asked you about your past, which, to be honest, he never did. Kind of a dick move, if you ask me. He should have absolutely asked this mayor about her past, but everything went so swimmingly. Everything kind of went to the point of neither of them really questioning it, where he never thought about it. He barely knew anything about this mayor, and they're living together. They're um, enjoying each other very, very greatly, intensely even. And they're running the thing together, the gas station. And she doesn't seem bothered because it seems like that's something she really expected after a while. She kind of said, well, uh, I don't really come from a fancy family, and in fact, I'm kind of the outcast of my family. Uh, we used to focus on wasn't a family of seamstresses, but it was just a family that focused on making outfits. Saddlebags, saddles. Which how do equestrians have saddles if there's no one to ride them? Another story for another time, perhaps. But just all sorts of things, and of course, outfits, gowns, boots, hats, just all these sorts of things that were really nice. Well, when she was a foal, her parents decided to go the way of the nonprofit, which is to say, man, this world is so full of people who don't have really good hats or really good outfits because when it's winter, it gets really bad out there. So, they focused on that. And of course, growing up, she absolutely loved it. She was doing the right thing. She was doing the best thing, actually. And it worked for Worked for about a decade, never had an issue. Worked for about 15 years. They were a pretty big name. And of course, everyone was just happy to get stuff, right? And then 20 years into it, when she was a full grown merit, it started to become an issue of, well, things were starting to slow down. Not necessarily due to the lack of resources, but just her parents are slowing down. They're kind of not able to keep up with demand, which shockingly, if you're making free garments, everyone needs one, right? Everyone's insisting on a handout because, well, it's free. Why would I not take something that's free? So they just keep taking stuff that's free, and eventually, over 20 years, she's realizing the same people keep showing up. Like, this isn't for people in need. This is for people who just fucking pop up. There's this one jackoff who shows up every year for a new hat. What's he doing with the old hats? She didn't know. So, 25 years, 30 years into it, there's nothing left. Her parents passed, which unfortunately happened earlier than sooner when it comes to old age. And then it just turned into it was just her. And of course, there was some equestrian courtship. That's the norm, but it almost always turned into, oh, since we're going out, could you make me this? And well, it now turned into a situation of now she's making stuff just for whoever asks, on top of the expecting masses. And to be fair, it is masses. No, it's not a writing panel, it is a storytelling panel, which no writing is included. So even if you're not good at writing, you have no excuse to not make a fucking story. The question is, how do you tell it? So after all this time, like, it got to the point where one day she realized the family workshop was completely empty. There are no more raw resources. There's no money for it. There's like a half dozen sets of boots and some saddlebags and some blankets and some pillows and just a lot of really nice stuff. And they're sitting there because the people who they claimed they needed them, they swore they needed them, up, left, right, down, center. It's been weeks and they haven't shown up. And so it's sitting there. And that only at that time did it really fit, you know? And of course, she ended up selling the workshop. She ended up, just not even selling, but just getting rid of the family home because it went from something that was full of pictures of them and their family, which granted it was only the three of them, not a large family by any standards. It turned into pictures of PR campaigns, of movements, of little snippets in newspapers of how they have such a great reputation, of how they will help you. And by you, I mean you, Pony Dash 195 AFA 34. They will help you with whatever you need. And that's all that her life and her family amounted to. They gave free stuff right now. And, and what happens after you give enough stuff away, for nothing? So it was around that time she ended up leaving everything. She had Equestria, but at that time, Equestria was starting to have access to the human world, and after that, she's like, you know what, just go into the human world because everyone's just taken from me. They've been taken from my family my entire life. They've never given anything back, and no one has. That's the thing. Like, it's never been an instance of, oh, let me give you this in turn, or let me give you that. It's always been a thing of, thanks, I'll be back. I hope it's ready for me when I come back. I'm looking forward to getting this. There's been gratitude. There have been situations of genuine, true gratitude, but there's also been many. many more situations of this entitlement, of this refusal to consider it what it is. It could be life changing for someone. But if it isn't life changing for someone, then why are they making a big stink? And it came down to getting something for nothing. And of course, whatever money that she had, translating it into human money, didn't really last that long. Then just tried to just find work anywhere because again, very, very skilled craftsman, very, very nice stuff. And it's just never really nothing stuck. And of course, for her having lived the life that she did, she didn't really know how to honestly manage money that well either. It was a lot of learning in action, learning on the job, as it were. And it eventually got to the point where she had nothing. And sure enough, she ended up coming across Aranon. And him, he asked her name. If you can do better, show me. And then I don't know what you want to do after you show me, but that was nice. I like it. I'm proud of that. I have it still. I like it a lot, actually. I'm I'm touched beyond words when I see people who are inspired by the shitty things I write to do the things that they've done. It's very touching. Touches me right in my cockles, among other things. So at that time, she meets the Anon in our story, and after asking her name, not even asking about her past, not asking what she wants in return, he asked, "Hey, uh, I got a gas station just down the road. Would you like to? I have a shower. I have a lot of stuff. Like, of course, he doesn't say he has a lot of stuff, but hey, I'm grabbing groceries. I got things to spare. Would you like to kind of come back with me? You know?" And sure enough, that's how they met, and that's at that point for roughly a year. That's how it's been. So as she's telling him all this stuff, he's just listening because he never knew. How could he have known? Who would ever have been able to guess that sort of stuff? And she's not sad when she's telling this. She's not angry. She's telling it matter of factly. She's recalling so many specific projects that took her and her parents months to do because at one it was a race against the clock, right? Winter's coming in, new family with a new foal. Already got three foals to keep track of. It's a rough thing. They need winter clothes. So they broke out all the stops, every single thing they could do. She went hungry. Her parents neglected her and themselves to make sure they had the resources for that family because it was the right thing to do, or so they believed. And of course, what did the family do after they got the winter clothes? Well, they thanked him. They thanked him every which way he possibly could. They spread out the name even more. And of course, they had a newspaper headline about it because it saved like what, 6 lives, arguably, possibly, but it didn't put food on their table. It took away food from their table. So, by the time she finishes, he doesn't really know what to say. This is such a world that he's not used to. Not that he grew up in the lap of luxury. Absolutely not. And not nothing close to that, but he was never in that bad a situation. And to be fair, he had never really performed any charity work either. He just kind of, you know, how do you go from a life of schooling into now you're keeping track of the gas station, Numbers go up, that's all that matters. He knew some basics about keeping it running and making sure everyone gets paid and just the water is on and The power doesn't get turned off, but I think that's about it. So by the end of it, he's not mad anymore. Not that he was ever necessarily mad at her. He was just it was frustrating. It was a sad situation, you know? It's sad all around, and it's still happening. It never stopped at all. And, you know, of course, by the time she openly says, you know, that's it, now you know, uh, she hesitates, but after a while she kind of goes, are you angry at me for this? And out of everything that made him feel bad, that's what made him feel the worst. It's like, of course he's not angry about it. There's no way he could be. You know, it's the the emotional bond that they have, bolstered by a very strong physical bond, I may include. I mean, again, there is very strong attraction going on there, not just for pragmatic reasons one could argue with her, but there's definitely something going on. You know what I mean? There's no arguing that. But it's just there's more to it than that, you know? It's a nice, real, genuine thing. I was like, no, of course I'm not mad. I never knew. And it's true. He never did know. Yeah, how could you know? So, you know, they finish eating their dinner and they try to not really talk more about it because they're both drained emotionally when it comes to that. And by the end of it, you know, she speaks up and it's like, well, now that you know this, what do we do from here? And of course, he doesn't have an answer yet. He mentions, well, how about this? And him saying it like that, it's enough to make her perk up. I mean, she's okay. So she's listening. She's willing to hear him out. You know, she's never been a subversive force. She's just she she has seen and learned things that he hasn't. So she has taken it upon herself to protect them, not to protect her, but them. So he mentions, all right, well, how about this? We'll go into town. Let's just grab a shit ton of food, right? Uh, she's a little bit suspicious at first, understandably, right? And he quickly adds to it, well, we're not going to give it away. Let's have it be a fair share. Let's like 100% profit, right? We sell 20 burgers, we have enough money where we could make 40. Or we can make another 20 and then there we go. We have 20 burgers worth of profits. Yeah, it took her a while to think about it. And of course there's issues to this, right? There's the question of, is it enough? Could it ever be enough? And after a while she's like, all right, well, you know what? Eh. And to help win her over, he mentions, listen, we'll also do a hard limit. Or not even necessarily a hard limit, but a lunchtime. So for lunchtime, a full 2 hours, let's do this. She thinks about it and she goes, okay, let's give it a week. Let's not tell anyone. Let's kind of start stocking up on patties and things, and then once we do it, we'll kind of go from there. All right, cool, it works. So he just he does it, and sure enough, another week or two go by. They announce it quietly, of course, just on site, and it ends up working nicely. And you know, they're still a gas station, but they have lunchtime stuff, and by the end of it, he's a lot more at peace with himself. Of course, she's very, very carefully keeping track of things and making sure no one, you know, gets any freebies, quote unquote, even if he might slip one or two extra patties, but you know, whatever. And things don't necessarily get better, not with the wider world. There's still many, many figures who visit and are just they're on that same path. And of course, you're starting to see families of different types and age ranges and all that too. But with her support and with her confidence, stalwart as she is, uh, it works. It works enough. And after a certain point, it doesn't really bother him that he has limits because he does know that as much as they are doing, they're still helping. It's not everything, but sometimes it's enough. And that is 3 hours of storytelling, and that's it. I don't know. Oh yeah, by the way, the end. It's not a fantastic, massively so story, but you know, there you go. It's a story that came out of nowhere and finished, not out of nowhere, but 3 hours after. Supposedly it's what, another 12 minutes into another panel. So I don't know if it ends right now or if we do whatever. So no, I don't fucking know. You're the ones who have been here. I'm the one just talking into a. That's a lie. No one's ever voted my panels as a highlight. Mostly because everyone's been sleeping during them because they take place at 2 a.m. But no, I appreciate it though. Um, I don't know. I don't know if things just kind of go yet or if anyone has any questions. I don't know. I'm so used to doing panels in the middle of the night. Like I think it was Mayor Fair year two. I had a panel that went until 2 a.m. It was a horse words and you and then a story time panel, and then we spoke for like another hour after. Yay, I can eat buffer minutes. Delicious, delicious. And oh no, Rat Pony, don't do that. Don't do that. The legs are broken. I Oh boy. And yeah, I guess that is the moral of the story, right? It's it's practicality and hard facts versus what can feel like your soul, because at what point can you honestly sit back and just do nothing, right? But at the same time, by the same token, how much of yourself are you willing to sacrifice? Because at the end of the day, if anything given without value has, or what was it? Anything given freely has no value. That's the rule. The exception to that rule is someone who genuinely appreciates it. But for our older mayor and her family and everything they've ever done, no one's ever really cared. Uh, and yeah, this is all on the fly. I wouldn't call this talent. I have that core concept, which is of mice and men. And then as earlier today, I thought about, you know what? Rather than being on that adventure, why not just like a fucking gas station in the middle of nowhere, right? That'd be interesting. That's new. It's a very static environment where it's very easy and, as the kids say, liminal, where people don't think about it, right? But if you're there and you see this, what do you do? Nor recommend some video. Shadow Tower Abyss. It is a PS2 game. It's very nice by FromSoft. I like it. Uh, Intravenous 2. If you haven't played it already, play it. Awesome game. I have many, many achievements, like all the toughest ones of beating it on true and classic difficulty and all that other shit. Looking forward to Intravenous 3. Uh, Now I'm actually reading the chat thing. Who's my favorite pony? If I'm looking at canon, I will say I have a great and cheerful Trixie statue. So that is one thing, but to be fair, it's a toss-up between Trixie and Maud. I mean, if I had a mod statue like this, by all means, I would have her as well. So that's my thing. Trixie slash mod. And if you give me an option between the two, probably mod more. So, she rocks. Thoughts on your wife? Uh, if it's the GIF, I really like her main. Also, she's a Pegasus, which I'll admit I'm not used to Pegasi. That's why in my latest screen, the Pegasi has actual weird human-esque bones that are like fingers because it always weirded me out how people love to have human fingers as wings, which is really weird to me. So, I don't know. I guess I'm not the biggest Pegasus fan. Usually Earth ponies, unicorns have a lot of neat ups and downs to them. So, oh yeah, by the way, the Yandir thread, where is it? Yeah, this. Let me link it. If you're interested, I don't know, read this maybe. My green. I don't have my name on it because it doesn't fucking matter, but you can probably figure out which one is mine. Cowboy, thoughts on your wife? I like the cheese legs. There's All right, Twiggles. That's a nice gift. That's really good. Yeah, and I will continue to call it Yandir because it pisses off people. I don't care that it's Yandere. I'm not a fucking weeb, so I'm gonna say it like an American in America. But no, Chrysalis is pretty good. There's a marital affair, marital problems, which is basically just the cheating thread of a thread with or agreeing with Chrysalis. I want to get back to you, but I got to get all my shit done first. Twyfaganon. Thoughts on my wife? Who is this? Who is this background mare? It looks like a ripoff off of Moon Dancer. Like Moon Dancer is the fucking OG. I don't know who this donut steel fucker is. So I don't know. She's okay, I guess. Too bad her character got assassinated after season, what, three? And after the actual movie where she purposely does something fucking stupid because the plot says so. So, thoughts on Pinkie Pie? I've agreed on reverse gender roles Equestria, equestrian raised. That is my thoughts on Pinkie Pie. A young anonymous is very, very much in danger from Pinkie Pie. But no, Twilight's nice. In Steamy Magic, my second green ever. I think my first Yandir, Yandere green. I don't fucking care what the term is. No one else cares. I'm gonna keep saying it my way, just piss you off. She makes a very good figure in Painful Magic, both part and wound, part one and two. I like how I've thought of her and her ascent, which is a good way to put it. Think of Luna. I kind of like Luna better. The Yandir Green Year Nightmare. I think I had fun with that. Nightmare Coom. I don't really remember. She's okay, but I never really thought too much about her. Celestia's all right. Celestia's okay. I'll admit, I I'm a dipshit loser. I attract dipshit losers, and I'm attracted to dipshit losers. When it comes to royalty, I don't know. I guess I'm just not the sorts that really go for the princesses and all powerful. I'd rather the stupid dipshit behind the Wendy's or works at the Wendy's, one of the two. Uh, yeah, and that kind of was how it was back then. It was attracted to Mare despite the appearance because of who they were as people and as characters. And then the physical aspects came out after the fact. So, you have no proof I have anything with the Wawa Mare. And for the record, I paid for it before I took it. So, you know. But yeah, we got what, 4 minutes? What can we stuff in 4 minutes? Can I post more random air pictures of shit that I have? Can I do that? Do I have enough time for that? Oh no, I gotta fucking rush it now. I got fucking 3 minutes left. Oh no. This, behold, obscure embrace, also known as Sally. Why is she named Sally? It is a human name. Look at this face. Don't you trust this face? Isn't this the face of mercy? Isn't this the face that you like to see when you wake up staring over you, saying, "Oh hey, how you doing? I knew you fell asleep at this time because I slipped you some extra melatonin with your dinner." Does this look like the eyes of someone you should fucking trust? No. No, it doesn't. It doesn't look like that. Fucking just no. Don't do it. Don't do it, Anon. Oh yeah. Uh, also, I don't know. Go to Mayor Fair. I'm at Mayor Fair. I'm staff at Mayor Fair. I do Mayor Fair stuff. I'm in the game room for like 3 days, I guess. I'm not doing a panel because I don't really care, but I don't have any good panel ideas anyway. But yeah, shout out to Mayor Fair, I guess. As if anyone here doesn't go to Mayor Fair already. Um, I got 2 minutes. I got 2 minutes. What do I show? What do I show in 2 minutes? Oh no. Oh no. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh shit. Oh fuck. What do I do? What do I do? Oh no. Look at these three dorks. Who are these fucking dorks? I don't know. You don't know. No one knows about any of these. Eventicus, go to his Storytime panel. I don't know if I'll be there. I don't know. I'm not good at paying attention to panels, but go to his panel. He's probably more entertaining than I could ever be. River Omnes, if you see that guy, take his bones out. Make him that gift because he deserves it for posting that. And you now everyone's posting it. By everyone, I mean two people. All right, I got what? I got a minute. I got a whopping six. I got less than 60 seconds. What do I show? What do I show? What do I end this on? How about this? How about this? Just an edit. An edit of a bootleg mare. Look at this. Look how happy she is. You love it. You love it. You absolutely love it. How do you not love it? This stupid fucking idiot. Look at it. Look at it. You love it. You absolutely love it. I'm gonna keep saying you love it until Corp cuts me off because I'm gonna fuck you love it. You love this dumb bitch. Look at her. Look at her. You absolutely love her. I'm gonna keep showing pictures. This is gonna keep going until I get cut off. No one's gonna fucking stop me. I don't fucking care. You look at it. It's everything will be fire. She's just yeah. Look at that. Look at that dumb shit. Look at that fucking loser. Look at her. It's weird. You're weird. It's weird that you're not looking at this, okay? It's really weird you're not looking at this. How do you not look at this? How do you not see this and go, oh man, my dick and my heart are going to explode? So look at this. It's awesome. Am I going to do the correct ratio? No, I'm going to run up and down because it's motion. Look at it. How do you see this? This is fucking weirdo psycho. Yeah, I'll call my bootleg waifus names, fucking idiots. I'm gonna call them every bad name in the book. You can't stop me. They can't fucking stop me. Look, it's time for another panel. I'm still rolling. No one's gonna cut me off. Only Corp can do that, and he's not doing it. What's gonna happen next? I don't fucking know. I'm just gonna keep doing it. No one can stop me. I'm done with the story. Deal with it. Say you can cut this off whenever he wants. I don't care. Enjoy the rest of the con, by the way. I don't just do whatever you want to enjoy, but I ain't gonna fucking stop. You think I'm gonna stop? No, I'm not gonna fucking stop.